Go. Well, hello there.
Hi.
Oh, hello there. How are we doing?
Pretty
Good. How are you?
We're in the big leagues now.
Oh, I need to mute. Let me mute. Okay, there we go. We're back.
There we go. Right, so gang chat. These are the 4 amazing ladies that have decided to accompany me through this journey tonight, and hopefully, if there's enough, interest in it, they might be back for more in the future. Who knows? Who knows? But we are gonna
No, you diamond.
we are going to get them to introduce themselves one by one. So we'll start from top left. So sorry, Danae, you are up first.
No, wait. Okay. Okay. My name is Denaecious. My real name is Tony. I work full time, 2 jobs as a nurse, and I'm a gamer. I've been a gamer my whole life. I don't have a regular streaming schedule due to my work schedule at the moment, but that's it.
Thank you very much. And on to the middle.
Oh,
the
my
imposter.
gosh. Okay, we're back. We're back.
We're back.
I keep jamming. Yeah, I panicked so much.
Same. I'm just like, did I lose them? It's me. I'm sorry. I started messing up with everything, and it's breaking. It's breaking everything. I was trying to trim down my camera because I'm a real pro streamer right now, and it wasn't working. Anyway, hi. I'm the imposter. My name is the Real Bikini. Any other bikini you meet is an imposter, except for I'm the imposter in Fuzz's Discord. I am a giant shit show. I'm known for my penises, who are beautifully sitting in my background here. I'm a horror streamer. I'm usually live Mondays and Wednesdays. Usually breaking games in some sort of way. I try to make it as entertaining as possible, though. And yeah, I have a really hard time talking about myself, so I'm really bad at introductions.
You did fine, Beth. Thank you very much. And on to the person to the right of you.
That's me, right?
That is you.
Hey guys! I am Emily. I hate doing intros, okay? So I'm sorry, I can't do intros. However, I'm a massive weirdo. That's all I've got. I'm so sorry. I can't do intros. But you guys know me, and I'm about everywhere. I love you.
She's a sweetheart, and yeah.
Yeah, she is. Oh, she is. She hath frozen dead in a very unflattering pose there.
Oh, he keeps jamming for me.
It did it again.
You look like a Ronnie Pickering there, right there.
Who?
I'm gonna change cameras again and see if maybe that'll help.
That's fine.
I don't know. Is it me?
I don't think it's you.
No, I don't think it's you.
Keep stopping.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, it's Discord, yeah.
And the lovely lady to the left of me, introduce yourself, pretty please.
Hi, I'm Strawberryykitsune, also known as Kit. I am a quality assurance officer in AAA gaming, as well as a challenge runner for Resident Evil Survival Horror and Spyro the Dragon. And I haven't streamed in that area yet. I just haven't had the time.
Yeah, but
we miss you.
The YouTube content is fire, though, so...
Yes, I've been doing YouTube content in the time for that. But yes, I work in gaming development, and I've been gaming for 31 years this year. I'm older than I look.
Right, once again, guys, thank you so much for agreeing to take part in this. And I know amongst the 4 of you, this is a very important topic for a smattering of different reasons. Like I said in the introduction, I've wanted to do this as well because I haven't really fully understood just like how different it is for a woman to be in content creation. It is for a male to be in content creation. I personally perceive it as it's easier for me because I won't get as much hate as other people just because of the gender, skin color, sexuality, etc. And it's kind of cathartic that we're doing this on International Women's Day as well, completely unintentional because I didn't know when I actually picked the date for it. But we do have some topics prepared. So the one thing that did strike me, so going back a little bit, when I was growing up, it was always seen that like gaming was like the boys' thing to do. I even remember when Sony released the pink PlayStation as kind of like the way to entice more women into gaming. Yeah, don't know why, but like pink was obviously the girly color back then. But anyway, and I'm sure some of you have seen on my socials that like my research into like the topics I prepared today have been quite eye-opening and very uncomfortable reading for the most part. So the one thing that did start to mind, so I delved into demographic a little bit. So 50% of all gamers in the world are actually female. So it's actually a 50-50 divide, with 30% of them aged between 18 and 24 in the US. So that's a huge proportion of people right there. The difference in what games, going off the survey, that women favor towards rather than men is they will go for mostly the non-competitive fantasy design games, so like your Stardew Valley, for example, whereas the men will go for the more competitive aspects of the game. I think that's kind of interesting, to be honest. I'll throw the first question to you, Bikini.
Okay.
How would you describe your lure towards game? Like when you go to look for a game, what is it that you look at? Do you look at it from literally like window shopping? It's like, oh, that looks good, or do you actually like delve deeper into it and find out like about the representation, and the quality behind it, the game developer behind it, and all the little bits in between? You actually delve into what you're picking up before you actually go and buy it.
A lot of what I actually look into, and kind of this has kind of changed over time to evolve. You know, when I first started out, like really like streaming heavily, I was very involved in Phasmophobia. And what I have started leaning more towards is hidden gems. You know, things that aren't very well known, but things that are a little bit different, a little bit more unique. It tends to send me down, unfortunately, the single player route, which you know, I like playing with my friends and everything, but these are the kind of games that I end up looking towards. You know, a lot of them are just they're the single player games, but I love finding things that nobody else knows about. And it makes it a little bit hard sometimes because nobody knows what I'm talking about. But I enjoy playing them. You know, I enjoy doing something that I haven't seen 1,000 people play before, and just trying to find something a little bit more on the unique side.
Do you find it? You feel a bit safer playing a lesser known game, whether that be a lesser known party game or lesser known single player game, because the community is so small or new that it's relatively less toxic than a larger community where there's a lot of opinions flying around and there's a lot of very judgmental fingers being pointed at if like you say something that doesn't necessarily agree with a point that someone else has made?
That's a really good point that I hadn't actually thought about before, but that's very true because I've met a lot of people, unfortunately. You know, the horror community in general is usually pretty supportive of each other. But I have found over time that there have been more and more people that, you know, you kind of see the side that they portray versus who they really are. You know, they kind of put a mask on for everybody else so that they look good. You know, and then you end up seeing the toxic side of them, and it just kind of it's a very good point. It definitely is more of a safe place.
The reason why I ask that is because Emily, I'll come on to you now for this bit. I know that you're you like to play a lot of Call of Duty on your channel, which obviously has a massive community behind it. As a female playing that game, how would you describe your experiences for the most part?
Do you know what? COD. Now, I will not put my mic on in random lobbies. I love COD. Everyone knows how much I love COD, but I absolutely refuse to put my mic on if I go into a public lobby. I won't do it. My mic will be on for my friends. However, every time I go into a public space on Call of Duty, there's going to be a comment, and I refuse to do it. I won't, stream it and everyone else has to hear it, but I refuse. I won't put my mic on, which is a shame because like there are some nice people, but I'm not going to have comments, and it's usually get in the kitchen, typical. But they hate it. The second that they are aware that there is a female in the team, it becomes a big problem. It just takes the fun out of the game, and it's a shame. I love the game. I love multiplayer, but you have to be around 12 people. I'm not doing it.
Do you feel as if that toxicity towards females within that community in particular has gotten worse gradually over the years, or has it remained about the same? Do you see any signs of it getting better at all?
I don't think it's changed. Not from what I've seen. I still see it as it's toxic. I'm still seeing slurs. I'm still seeing the most. Like I haven't seen it get better. If anything, it's the same. And I've now taken myself out of the situation. So now I don't know. I still think it's toxic.
It is. I mean, I remember playing Call of Duty back, high school days, and people will refer to like, kids these days who never survived these lobbies. And, like, you think back, like they were incredibly racist, they were incredibly sexist, very homophobic and transphobic. Like it wasn't like they. It's almost like a brag. It's like, oh yeah, you wouldn't survive back in those days. No, it was really, really bad. Like no one wanted to survive back in those days because the language being used.
Yeah, the only difference now, I think, because when females decide that they want to play COD, like we're now kind of mentally stronger to clap back. Before it was just like, we'll take it, we'll leave the lobby, or we'll mute, whatever. But like now we can literally just argue back. And it's been a case with like me and my female friends. If there was a time where we've had to have like the parties on or the lobby was on, we literally just kind of have to shout back, and it just becomes a toxic place. But I think that's the only difference now, is like mentally we're stronger and we won't take it.
I suppose it's nice that, I say nice with a bit of tongue-in-cheek, it's nice that some are starting to develop a bit of a thicker skin, that they're not going to let these immature individuals ruin the experience. If it's a game you like playing, you shouldn't be held back playing it just because there's a loud minority of them in there that want to make it miserable for everyone else, especially a certain demographic within that community as well. So it's one of those where it's like, it's great that like you said, women are finding a voice and starting to clap back, but it shouldn't get to that point where you have to develop a thick skin and kind of psych yourself up to prepare yourself for what you're about to walk into. Because in the day, it's just a game. You're supposed to have fun with it, not throw slurs around.
Yeah, people are salty.
Yes, they are. Next one is for you, Kit, because I know anyone who knows you, massive RE speedrunner, challenge runner. Can you describe to those who maybe don't, because I'm not fully involved in like the speedrun challenge run scene, how competitive is that scene within the games that you play?
Sorry, my mum was just asking for your link.
I love Mrs. Kit. Mama Kit.
We love Mama Kit. You want us to talk about the speedrunning and challenge running community?
Yeah, like how is your experience? Can you from it?
So I can. So the challenge running, speed running, no damage run, everything is very male orientated. Most of the top speed running, if not all of them, I think, are like 90% men. There are not that many women on the hitless boards, and there aren't that many women on the speed running boards as they are compared to men. However, 90% of the time, I've had the best experience on there, and I find it incredibly surprising. I've always gone into the more competitive side of gaming expecting to get a lot of hate, but I've made some amazing connections through challenge running, and I've had a lot of men, male streamers, offer to coach me in speed running, no damage running if I've ever needed help. They've always been a DM away, which has been a nice experience for me, as opposed to when I was a young girl on the likes of, because I used to play COD when I was a teenager, when I was much younger, and I experienced the whole hug in the kitchen and sexual comments towards me when I was a minor, you know. So when I expected to jump into challenge running, which again is a lot of like world records or people vying for the same record, or the same accolade, it does get very competitive. However, I've tend to found that, especially in the Resident Evil community, I can't speak how it is in the other ones. In the Resident Evil community, they are wonderful. A big shout out to Soul Signal, Lucy Lover, and Orchlon for being some of the best coaches and supports in the challenge running community for Resident Evil. They have taught me a lot, and have had a lot of tolerance for women in the space. They encourage it. They want to see more of that. I recently entered the this Spyro challenge on the community, which is about this big. Right, there is not that many people in the Spiral Challenge community. It is this big, and it is dominated by one name, right? And that would be Dealman. And I've recently just joined his community about 6 months to.
Oh, damn Discord.
He's just this grumpy, bearded Spiral speedrunner, and he streams shirtless, and he's all, I'll do it. Women can do it. Like, I don't care. And he's been wonderful in talking me through certain speedrunning things, but I decided I want a no damage run. The other dominating name in Spyro is Lumi Laura, who is actually a woman, and thinks that I am absolutely mental for doing no damage Spyro instead of focusing on speedrunning. But I found that I can't speak for. I do know, and I have heard that the retro, like really retro, challenge run community is incredibly toxic. But I've heard from friends that the retro community itself can be rather toxic. And the challenge run community even just gets worse. But the two communities that I've been part of, and when I've delved into Silent Hill and Dino Crisis challenge running, they've all been wonderful as well. I have a largely positive experience in regards to coming up against men in a challenge running space, dressed how I dress, presenting how I present. I fully expected to get a lot of hate and have to fight my corner, and it seems to be more the viewer base of this that's problematic, as opposed to the men that are in the space that are problematic. The men are wonderful, and I can't say I've ever had a bad way to say about any of them.
Finally, a group of men who aren't completely idiotic. Yay! Bit of a follow-up question to your experiences. Do you feel as if you would have a different experience if you didn't hold the knowledge of the games that you speedrun? So I know from stories I've heard, for example, that people who go into the speedrun community, especially in like a game, we'll say, especially in a game series which is, very, very popular, if that person doesn't know a lot about the game itself, or the characters, or the lore, or whatever, they tend to get a lot of vitriol behavior towards them because of their lack of knowledge and understanding of the game itself. They may know the mechanics, but they don't necessarily know much about the game's background and the franchise's background. Do you feel as if your experiences might be different if you didn't have the knowledge that you had, or do you feel it would be roughly the same?
I personally feel like it would roughly be the same. The Resident Evil community is quite chill, and by chill I mean they will spam you with pages and pages and pages of lore and knowledge and everything that they know and their own theories, and then tell you to play every single game except for 6.
Yes, fuck 6.
Like, they'll tell you to play every single game bar 6, and then they'll explain why you shouldn't play 6. And every Resident Evil fan has a 1.5, probably like a 1,500-page PowerPoint presentation about Resident Evil and all the lore behind it and everything you need to know. They're wonderful. It's more, I tend to think that there are a few gatekeepers in there, and I think it's more not so much the lore around the game itself. They will come in and try and tell you things. And you just have to tell them to shut the fuck up. This is my first playthrough. I don't need to know. That's why I don't do first playthroughs on stream for any game anymore. Is because I don't need to know. This is my first playthrough. I think it's more in regards to challenge running community. Is you get a lot of, especially male viewers, and I've had this, come in and try and backseat and tell us how I should be speedrunning when I'm actually doing a no damage run, and it's in the title and it's in the tags. And I had somebody coming in saying, "You're on a really slow pace for a speedrun," and I'd had enough. By this point, I think I've been streaming for like 8 hours. I think I'd had bad run after bad run after bad run, and I paused it and I went, "Can you read?" And he was like, "Sorry." I was like, "It's in the title, it's in the tags." I goes, "And this bar here," I goes, this is not speed runs. This is the amount of damage I've taken in an entire run. I am not speed running." He never came back, and I wonder why.
He got put in his place, that's why.
I tend to think that they like to come in and try and insert themselves in, and like I've said to them a million times is, "Oh, you think I should be speedrunning better than..."
Freezing.
Let me go at my own pace and I'll learn.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a big thing with the challenge run community, is they expect you to go in and be a pro as soon as possible. It's not that easy.
No.
As somebody who used to stream for like 8 to 10 hours and then practice for like 13 hours off stream, it's not that easy. Like, honestly, I think I spent all of my off days practicing for speedruns and no damage runs, and then my streams doing them. And I only got me no damage runs when I hadn't played the game in 2 weeks and did a debust on stream. And there was nobody in stream to see it, but like a couple of me regulars. It was 8 AM and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll go live."
Oh God.
Please.
So at least you've had a more positive experience from your
from what I do.
Yes, that is positive. That is good. Moving on to Denaecious, Tony, the Overwatch streamer amongst us. So I know a bit more about Overwatch than Call of Duty, because I've been away from Call of Duty for years. So, and I smashed out Overwatch 1 for a while because my friends dragged me in it, and I haven't really played too much 2, but I know a bit about it because I do follow some content creators. I know about the Overwatch toxicity. I have seen it. I've even seen it thrown at just people picking female characters and assuming that the person behind it is female. They are that quite narrow-minded. Could you describe how long have you been playing Overwatch 4/Overwatch 2, and could you describe your overall experience being a female playing Overwatch?
So, Overwatch came out in 2016, and immediately I loved it. It was my favorite game of all time. I would like to add, I don't play Overwatch. You get in a lobby, they hear you're a woman, they immediately assume you're gonna choose a specific character, i.e. Mercy. And the toxicity from just being a woman in general, playing Overwatch, they expect you to play support, play pocket, or you're a diva main, you're not a real gamer, stuff like that. And it's the physical stress that I got from that, and that's probably the game I've put the most hours into. And I didn't stop playing until Overwatch 2 came out, and it was causing me so much physical stress with the amount of toxicity and the assumption that I would play a specific character if I came in, because I used my mic because I felt as if communication was very, very important. Or despite having gold medals, I would get kind of shat on for playing a character maybe better than someone else because I'm female.
Yeah.
And they would say terrible comments to me like, I'm a woman, I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm talking about, you sound fat, go make me a sandwich. Just with random people. I will only buy and play games that I can play with people that I know, or games that do not have a voice chat option, like Dead by Daylight. And that has made a huge impact on the games that I play.
Oh, it's frozen. It's frozen, guys. Hold on.
Removing myself from playing that game as often as I was just having a physical impact on me, stressing me out, making me depressed because of the things that people would say. Pages dedicated to women specifically for certain games, and that's something that I get involved in because the toxicity is almost, I won't say non-existent, but they do a really good job of not including it at all.
Yeah.
And maybe one day I'll go back to Overwatch, but I couldn't do it anymore.
No, that is completely understandable. Like I said, because I've dabbled in it, I know exactly where you're coming from. I do remember one instance in Overwatch 1 where we were playing a comp game and we had a female on our team, and there's a duo on my team, and they were so toxic to our own teammates that they actually forced them out of the game, actually just quit the game just there and then, which is honestly disgusting. The one question I want to ask you though, and this is going to link into the next bit, Tony, is the one thing that they Overwatch like to boast is they do like to boast a multicultural, diverse roster of characters you can pick from. Not only just down to gender, but sexuality, countries, and so on and so forth. How, as a female gamer, how do you feel that the female characters within the game are portrayed? Are they portrayed in a positive fashion, negative fashion? Could they be doing better?
In Overwatch specifically?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a half and half on that because some of them are great, some of them have great lore stories, while other ones are, in my opinion, over-sexualized. And, for instance, Diva was a minor. She was, I think, 16, but so many people were sexualizing her, they had to make her an adult. And I'm still a part of these groups and fandoms, so I see the updates and I'm seeing all the new skins that are coming out, and they seem to get, I don't want to use the word skimpy, but they're getting more and more
revealing.
Like, yeah. And just, it's like they're sexualizing these characters, and that's just not what I was, and it's to attract, I guess, the male gaming, but it's also, if you don't mind, I'd like to add from the previous bit about the toxicity from men, but I also received quite a bit of toxicity from women as well, just due to the fact that I could load into a game, select one of my favorite characters, and they will sit there and bully you until you either leave or let them have the character. And that 100% of the time when I experienced that female was with men. And they just enabled that behavior and toxicity and bullying. But back to the female characters. I love how they are diverse with their cultures. Some of their skins were not appropriate in terms of how they named them, so they had to rename some of the skins because it was offensive to certain cultures. I believe it was the Doomfist tribal skin that created a large uproar. But other than that, with the diversity, and I don't think the women representation is. I'm half and half on it. I think they do a good job, but in some parts, I'm like, you're really over sexualizing these people to the point where you had a whole fandom sexualizing a 16-year-old.
Yeah, that was very disturbing when Diva came out, and I'm not gonna lie, I did not know that they actually raised her age just to eliminate that issue. I was completely unaware of that. Wow, holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad. Oh god. The reason why I asked about the representation is because I'll let you guys have a guess one by one. Would anyone like to guess the percentage of games that offer female protagonists?
I have no idea.
I would like to say 10 or 15%, maybe. Not
Okay.
even.
I was gonna take a stab at 20, but probably not even that high.
I'll go 30 just to be
30.
random.
Okay.
I was going to go about 18 to 20,
So,
but now I think that's too high.
so 18% of games offer female protagonists.
18?
You were spot on.
18.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And
The next GTA game will have a female protagonist, won't it?
it will,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
the
good.
internet absolutely lost their shit about it as well.
They did.
Of course they did.
What's
Why
it?
wouldn't they?
It's because GTA's been men all along. God, come on, get the memo. But it's very interesting that 82% of games offer male protagonists, which is staggering, to be honest. So that shows there that the female representation in games is still well off, is miles off. And as you were saying in talking about the skins being sexualized, most of the characters, these female protagonists, are portrayed as submissive, or they're highly sexualized, whether that's sexualized through the game, through their own natural design, or from the community that enjoys playing those games in the first place. My question, and I'll open this to anyone who wants to pick this up first. How do we get? How could game companies go about closing that gap on bringing the male protagonist options down and the female protagonist options a bit higher up?
I tend to think that, I mean, we should be hiring more female game developers to start off with, putting in like a female sense of everything into it. I tend to think that a lot of the time, male developers don't write women very well. If we're going to flip on things, of course, Capcom wrote female protagonists very well with the likes of Claire and Jill and strong female protagonists that could look after themselves. However, if we're going to flip in regards to something that Denaecious said before on the sexualization of female characters, we start off with Lara Croft, who was slightly sexualized in her later games to appeal to a male gaze, right? Especially after Angelina Jolie got the role in the movie. As somebody who grew up idolizing Lara Croft, she was, I think, Lara Croft was my first female protagonist in a game. She might have been. When did she come out? Like 1996 or something like that? She was out with the PlayStation 1, wasn't she?
She was the first female character, video game character, that made it onto magazine covers. And it wasn't just gaming ones; it was everyday ones as well. That's how big she was in the 90s.
She got the Lucasade deal as well.
She did indeed. Yeah, she did.
I grew up idolizing Lara Croft. I always kind of wanted to be Lara Croft. One of my jobs that I loved like idealized myself into was an archaeologist or a paleontologist. Because of it, obviously I didn't go into that, but she was, her and Dr. Alan Grant from Jurassic Park were massive inspirations in where I wanted to go in the future. And of course we had Dr. Ellie Sattler as well, who did better than Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. Just let's powerful woman right there. She saved everybody's life in Jurassic Park 3 as well. Right? If it wasn't for Ellie, nobody would have gotten out alive. So I think hiring more women in game development, but I also think as well, possibly not just because we've heard this argument a million times, is that you lose a male player base as well if you have nothing but female protagonists. I don't see the problem with adding more than one.
No.
Like Resident Evil did with 2. You got Claire, you got Leon.
Mhm.
Although I did find it wasn't like 82% or something of players first played Leon in the Resident Evil 2 remake, and the rest picked Claire, which were probably like the people who picked Claire were not female gamers. They were like lore heavy, right? Because Claire's run is actually the canon run for the first run, and then Leon is the B run. But I think hiring more female game developers, possibly given the option for a female protagonist alongside a male protagonist too. But while I do hugely understand a lot of having like a very set protagonist, character creation. How many of us have wished that week, because I'm a big Dragon Age fan, and I try and make characters that either look like me or represent my ideals and morals? I find it very, very hard to pick bad dialogue in a Dragon Age game or cheat on Cullen in a Dragon Age game. He's my one and only, and every time I play Inquisition, it's Cullen. I can't pick anybody else. That's my morals. So I think more female game developers, more choices for female protagonists, swap between a male and a female. That means if the salty little men want to play the little man in the game, then they can, but us women can have a representation too. But I also think hiring more minorities into development as well, or giving the funding to more small indie female-led, minority-led development teams as well. There are so many amazing, I know I'm AAA, but there are so many like tiny little indie devs that I've met over the years that have created some amazing games, and they have not been discovered yet. They're sitting in Steam for like £3.49, and they deserve so much recognition. You know, and everybody says, "Oh, I don't want to pay £18 for an indie game," but yet you'll pay £90 for a AAA game. That doesn't come with anything except the base game and a couple of skins.
Yes.
But you'll not pay £18 for a really well-made indie game.
Yeah, that someone's poured their heart and soul into, and they're very proud that they've released it as well.
Yeah. I also think as well, if we're going to do first player perspective, no gender. We don't need a gender for something in a first player perspective.
No.
It is meant to put you into the game. Why do you need a skin or a character behind it? It's one of the big things as I found a problem with is Cyberpunk. You do all this fancy shit to make a male or a female character,
and then you can't see it.
Never see it.
No.
You never see it in the gameplay. All of that custom, made character, and you never see it. And I tend to think men would be more programmed to just play through a first player game as like a female character if they didn't know she was a woman. Which is a very sad thing to say, but if we want to up those numbers, you need to start sneaky, and then you just go out, all guns blazing.
Yeah.
But I tend to think that we should be maybe more first person and more choices. Assassin's Creed, like Rune said in the chat, Assassin's Creed, they've done good female-led things. And I tend to think being able to choose your own gender, being able to create your own character or choose between a selection of characters could massively help bump those numbers up as well.
So,
offering a female protagonist.
Yeah.
It's just like Larian, they did so good with how they allowed people to create their characters including non-binary. In that game, huge. Like the player base, huge. And then you've got games like GTA 5 where the story mode is 3 men.
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
And you're talking about the sexualization of Lara Croft. I will say I've noticed one of the biggest ones, Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
But this newest one seems to have gotten better when it comes to sexualizing the characters. They're still curvy and pretty, but they're not just wearing skin tight like gymnastic suits to go fight. And I think a lot of the expectation is targeting a player base, which is men.
Yeah.
And that's why games are created the way that they're created. But I just completely lost what I was going to say. I'm so sorry.
I think we're
Makes
seeing
sense.
we're seeing a huge evolution in fighting game communities as well, as a lot of the female characters are becoming less sexualized than they were in the previous years. I know men are going to say that it was woke and everything. There's been big complaints about Mortal Kombat, about Nina in
The
Tekken.
Last of Us 2.
Oh
Yeah.
God, don't get me started on that. The amount of drama that came from that was pathetic. I'm sorry, it just was.
Yeah, it was.
It really was.
I think a lot of expectation is the expectation that your target audience, men, have on women, which throughout the years was stay at home, do
Very
clean,
oppressive.
cook, stuff like that. And now women are in the military. They're allowed to do things that they couldn't 100 years ago. And now big warriors, they're seen as just these great things. And I think Baldur's Gate is a really, really good setting stone moving forward for game creation because of how it portrays women, non-binary, etc., stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with that, and I know Borderlands, for example, in the last release, they introduced the use of pronouns and being able to pick a binary, non-binary thing with that as well, and being also, the sex of the character you picked just didn't matter because it was all your creation. Has anyone else got any other ideas of how we can close the female to male representation gap in terms of protagonists?
Not really. Both of those are right, but then I think, like, on the other hand, because of that gap being so big, are they deliberately not doing it because of how much they would lose? Does that make sense?
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can't remember the percentage, but that if you think that gap, and then let's say half of them are not happy about the choice, it's like they would lose it. So are companies deliberately not doing it because they don't want to lose any of that percentage? Like, are they making more money from that? So is it like deliberate? Do they even want to fill the gap?
I think
that's a
it
very
made
good
a
point.
very good point.
The
also
one
about including more female devs.
though not necessarily, well, I say not necessarily female. I know an instance from Apex Legends where they released a legend. It was called Catalyst, and she was transgender. She was male to female transgender, and the community absolutely erupted. And where most of the fanboys, the hardcore fanboys, were in utter uproar that they put a transgender character in the game, completely overlooking the fact that there's already pansexual characters in there, there's already gay characters in there, there's already bisexual characters in there, there's lesbian characters in there. I feel like these really hardcore man-children, they seem to have very short-term memories about what is actually in the game. They literally just see the headline in front of them. They'll read the big headlines, and then they'll absolutely flip tables just to prove a point. They're like, "Oh, I'm not playing this game. I don't want to play this game. I don't play this game." It's like when you dilute it down, you're basically saying, "I'm not playing a video game because a digital character that has no bearing on my life is a character that I don't agree with in real life." Like, that's just really, really petty, and it's like attitudes like that. Like, I don't blame people for staying away from like, oh, do you know what? I'm just not gonna touch that. And it's like I think Kit said it was about gatekeeping a community and like they want it their way, and I feel like they have so much power over the developer to kind of bottleneck them into making their decisions, these loud man-children's decisions over the own decisions that they want to make. Because clearly they want to make something diverse and inclusive for everyone to be a part of and have representation there.
Mhm.
But at the same time, they can't because they're the largest part of their player base, which would kill the game overnight if they all just stop playing, won't play the game if other
Mhm.
people dare to have representation in it. So I feel it's definitely like that gap is massive, and it's really it's gonna be really hard to close.
And we've seen when the tables are turned and somebody else speaks up about, you know, the lack of inclusion and all that. We've seen how they absolutely lose their shit over it. You know, as soon as one person says something, and all of a sudden they just they're having a giant fit. You know,
And it's not as even, and this isn't me just saying it for the sake of saying it. It's not as if their arguments are cogent anyway. Because their arguments make no sense. Like, what is your uproar? Well, there's a female character. So, like, girls play this game too. Like, let them have their representation. What if like someone playing it would like looks up to that character because of what their backstory is and their laws, and like, oh yeah, I can relate to that character in a certain way. I like playing this game because that character's in it. It's like you can't just have like. It's one of the things that Borma calls you. It's just a massive sausage fest of men running around with guns. Like it's not. And I remember, I don't know if you ever played it, Em, but Call of Duty Ghosts made such a huge fuss about having female operators in the game. Like it was the first Call of Duty to have female operators in the game, and it's like
I love Ghosts.
It's like they're making it. Like, but even in the real life, though, we'd already been adjusted to women joining the military. So. Why is that such a shock that all of a sudden like one of the biggest games built around war is now including female soldiers when in real life we've already seen them, like they're accepted, they can join the army if they wish to. I don't understand where the where the sense stops, and you know it's kind of backwards thinking to me, to be honest.
Especially when they're not forced to play as them. Like
Exactly.
you don't have to play as them. Like it blows my mind.
There is a reason why I did bring up the pack, because part of my research is I found a survey online. So Sky did a survey of May last year. They interviewed 4,000 women who play games. And I will give a trigger warning to anyone in chat that this may upset, because some of these stats aren't exactly easy reading. So out of the 4,000 women that they surveyed and interviewed as part of this plan, which is all part of a drive to make gaming a safer place for women and try and encourage and include more women in gaming. So 80% of them received messages of a sexual nature. 52% of women game worried about going online and receiving abuse. 35% received messages that were violent. And 50% of them felt uncomfortable streaming due to the hate that they may get because they are female. 31% lie about their own gender whilst they're gaming, which is a sad statistic in its own right, because you should be proud of who you are. 40% of them felt threatened. 27% worried about real life attacks.
That's so sad.
And 11%, that's 444 people, or 440 people, felt suicidal. That is fucking bananas. That is
sickening.
That is actually ridiculous that people are that vitriolic whilst playing a video game just because of someone's gender. Like, that's just not okay. Even based off that, though, like I would completely understand why women look at games and go, nah, not for me.
And the people that are doing this, and I've seen this, you know, a lot with like the LGBTQ community as well. The people who tend to be the attackers they will use statistics like that to make themselves feel better and say, well, you know, these statistics are so high because clearly they have mental health issues. It's not the fact that we're abusing them. It's because they have mental health issues, and so they shouldn't be doing this anyway, or, you know, whatever the case may be. It's always some sort of dismissal.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Statistics like that, in my opinion, need to be advertised more, because in my experience, I have, in an online game where I create a female character, have been targeted because I'm playing a female character. Like Red Dead Online, ESO, GTA, they will target you more and just harass you and follow you no matter where you go, and it will just lead to you either not playing the game anymore or just trying to find a lobby that doesn't have that, which is pretty difficult to do. And will also, it just has a large impact, and that's why a lot of women, I would say, will create male characters, because they're least likely to have that kind of harassment while playing these online games.
I played Red Dead Online, was targeted because I was a woman, constantly being shot at, bombed at, everything, until I just couldn't be bothered anymore. I played ESO for years, only ever played female characters, and was in veteran trials. I had some of the hardest to get skins. I got the highest rank in PvP that was possible. I made a lot of really good friends on it, but the amount of sexual harassment that I got, not even hate, but harassment that I got on ESO, and it was constantly, they would take it out of PlayStation DMs and out of the game chat into Facebook DMs. They'd find your socials on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that, and they would just sexually harass you for nudes, or say that if you sent them a picture like this, and they would get you into some of the best guilds that were the hardest to get into and were male orientated. Because I was already rather okay at the game, I didn't do any of that, but the amount of men and the amount of women that I've had in my guilds previously, I've ran about 2 guilds on ESO over the maybe 8 years I played it. Where I ran anything from very simple trials to very complicated veteran ones, and I gave everybody the opportunity to be in them. But the amount of women that came to me to say, this man just joined your guild, and this is what happened between me and him, and he threatened this, and he did that, and he had my nudes or whatever. So it has that, plus very early. You might want to get a mod in the chat.
Yep.
Very early like experiences on the likes of COD and stuff like that. You've got to we're getting, there's, I think the stream's buffering for people as well.
Yeah, hang on. Pause a sec just so I can get see what's happening in a sec. Hang on. Hold on to that thought a sec. Yeah. There we go. Right. Do apologise for that inconvenience there, guys. Kits, you were in the middle of your point.
I think
Are we back at the screen?
I think we're back.
I think.
There we are. We're back.
There we go. We're back.
Yeah, I used to get a lot of messages from girls asking us to remove men from the guild, and then send us like messages of harassment that they'd received, and they were quite renowned for doing that and thinking they could get away with it because it was a huge kind of community on there. And I have had my fair share of sexual harassment and comments and all that kind of stuff. And I get told that, it's the way you dress and the way you present yourself. Like, I dress like this outside of streaming and gaming. Like, anybody who, like, I will switch my camera on Discord on a Friday or Saturday night when I've done nothing all day, and I'll be wearing a face full of makeup, and like a dress or a nice top or something like that, because that's just how I dress. It's just how I present. That is how I'm comfortable. And I think telling any woman how you dress is the attention you receive, you deserve it. Like, no, it's not. Like, no woman deserves to be harassed or be given abuse for how she dresses or how she looks or anything like that.
Well, and there's women. I apologize for interrupting, but there's women who get hate that are completely fully covered. I mean, even like I mean, not to bring up somebody that I don't know much about, because I know that she's received a lot of hate. Pokimane is somebody who I've heard a lot about, like how she gets hate. Even when she's dressed in like sweatshirts and stuff like that, like she barely has an inch of skin showing. And people are incredibly hateful, and it has nothing to do with what you're wearing in the slightest.
No, you see all these male streamers like Asmongold and XQC and stuff call their communities broke and make fun of them and constantly degrade them all the time. And the minute Pokemon says you're too broke to buy my cookies, she's suddenly hated on. And I have to say that if any man got really salty about being told he was too broke to buy really fancy cookies, like gluten free, those ingredients and those kinds of we're frozen. Those ingredients and those like
it keeps freezing. It'll buffer out.
Yeah.
Discord's just taking a shit today, I think.
Yeah. It's not been the best for like a month now.
It's not, is it?
No. But like gluten-free and vegan cookies and stuff are really expensive to make because the ingredients are not accessible enough for people who do have these things, right? This is going a whole other argument, but if you are so salty about being told that you can't afford expensive cookies, right, because of the ingredients, then maybe you are too broke to buy them.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they're not for you, hun. Like, shh. Shh. Maybe argue the fact that gluten-free ingredients should be cheaper for people to buy and be more accessible than having to go Pokemon because of our mass-produced cookies. Like, come on.
Literally this.
If actually, like you guys have actually brought it around to a topic that I was hoping to get onto as well, is we all mod groups. I'm not going to mention names of the groups, but we all mod groups. All of us mod groups. Some of us mod multiple pages, but we all mod groups. I'm pretty sure I speak for all of us. The shit that we see behind the scenes, oh my god, it is absolutely rancid. It is like
traumatizing.
It is. It's not even. But like, jokes aside, though, for anyone in chat who isn't aware of this, females get inordinate amounts of hate on these pages that we mod for the smallest of reasons, and it's not even funny. As Kit's already said, women aren't really allowed to dress in what they feel comfortable with or what they wear normally because they deem that they're using sex to sell their stream just because they're stealing viewers. It's not the case. It's not the case at all. If a woman wants to dress like that, they can fucking dress like that. Let them. It doesn't matter. And if your content isn't better than 2 balls of fat on a chest, your content is clearly shit. That is literally just the case.
That's what I've been saying. If two balls of fat sitting on somebody's chest is more entertaining than you, then maybe you should have better personality.
Right? It is so true. It is so true. But like and like when I was promoting this, I know Kit knows one of the comments that I saw. She knows exactly. We had one flare up yesterday as well, where somebody said this is in the 1940s, women aren't as oppressed, and the other individual that Kit knows about, who complains that women sexualize themselves to sell their streams, yet she did a little bit of digging on who he follows, and it's literally just pages and pages and pages and pages of sex workers. So where does the line get drawn here between what is supposedly acceptable and what isn't acceptable here? Because
I mean, to be honest with you, like from a woman's standpoint, the biggest thing here that they don't understand is consent. It's the consent aspect. You know, they get mad because they overly sexualize us. They make creepy comments, and we call them out on it. Well, you asked for it because you were dressed like that. No. Me being dressed like this doesn't mean I'm a married woman. I don't want creeps coming at me. I don't want dick pics in my literally in my DMs.
Nope.
You know, and then somehow it's just they don't get the consent aspect. That's what it all boils down to. You know, they'll complain about, well, women are on OnlyFans. You're doing it to yourself. You're sexualizing yourself. Yes, I am, 100%. But I'm putting myself in a situation where I can set boundaries with what I'm comfortable with, and you know that's where the line is drawn. And people don't seem to understand that.
I think a big thing about that as well is that it's consent across platforms. If you're on OnlyFans, that's fine, right? You sexualize yourself on OnlyFans, you agree to sexual DMs on OnlyFans, you agree to sexual content on OnlyFans, right? That is fine. But elsewhere, you are not doing sexual content, you are just making content. And therefore, it should not carry over. And men should know where that boundary lies. Well, you do OnlyFans, so therefore you want to be sexualized on your Twitch streams, or your YouTube videos, or your Twitter. No. Because I've got tits, that means I want to be sexualized everywhere? No, it does not. Shut up.
And sometimes it's not even the cleavage. It could be showing too much leg, and that will make people just go ballistic. And it's just a leg.
The foot pictures in the groups.
They're great.
How people went nuts over them, and they're talking about thirst. Well, they're talking about thirst traps when, like, she's bending backwards to show her flexibility and stuff like that, and it's not even a thirst trap. Like,
it's so ridiculous. Like,
you're turning that into this.
But I'm also in the mindset of exactly, it is consent. If people want to dress this way to try to attract viewers, absolutely, because that's their decision.
Yeah, because if you're at the end of the day, if you're turning up at that streamer's chat, but literally solely because of how she's dressed, then clearly, so for example, if someone's turning up to someone's chat because of the way that a woman's dressed, not turning up in my chat, then clearly my content isn't for them. That's their content. That's what they want to see. I can't provide that. That's absolutely fine. But I'm not gonna throw shade at women who want to do that. It's not my cup of tea, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna belittle them or put them down or whatever just because of that's how they want to present themselves. That's absolutely fine. Power to them. You're not gonna it's not my cup of tea, but I'm not going to shame them for doing it. It just means I just don't watch it. It's like the whole hot tub meta when it was during lockdown. All right, I didn't watch any of it. I know a lot of people did it. Power to them. Wasn't my cup of tea, but I wasn't going to go shame people across multiple platforms saying, oh, this streamer does this, you shouldn't watch him, or this streamer does that. It doesn't matter. Like, there was loads of men that did the hot tub meta as well, but I never saw one bit of abuse towards them.
I think, I remember when Amaranth kind of capitalized on it, and she got so much hate for it. So much. But then this one guy went in that Borat bikini, where he had literally everything on show, and he was literally being celebrated as a hero. Why is it a woman who does a French maid costume stream gets absolute hate and called a slut and all this kind of stuff, and so that she's sexualizing herself for stream and viewers, but when men do it, oh, look how funny it is, he's in a French maid's costume.
I think it's the context of it as well, where it's men deciding when it's appropriate. Like, if a woman's dressed up as a French maid for Halloween, for example, that's acceptable. But if she just wants to dress up for a Twitch stream to have a bit of fun, oh no, you can't do that because you're sexualizing yourself. But like, where does that boundary starting?
Some of where I see the hate coming from is the people who are complaining tend to have this idea that a woman puts on an outfit and sexualizes herself, like the hot tub streams, and it's easy. She turns on her camera, she dresses a certain way, and everybody throws money at them. But these are also the same kind of people that, number one, you're the one who's reducing her to what she looks like. You're not seeing any of the entertainment aspect of what she's doing.
No.
You're not seeing any of the hard work that she's doing either.
No.
And my guess is, especially from the people that we've seen that complain about this, these are the same people that think that they're going to be the next ninja just because they turn on their camera.
Yes.
They hit go live
every time,
and there's no other work behind it.
No.
You know, it's I don't know if you've ever seen the meme. It's the success iceberg, where you see this tiny little bit of it that is what the world sees of your success.
Yeah.
But then you have everything that's under the water, that's all the work that you've done that nobody understands that brought you there.
Big time. And what is also very dangerous as well is about these, going back to these men that throw money at these streamers, is the parasocial relationships that they develop in their heads. And like, just because like it's very dangerous territory. Obviously, a lot of these streamers will have no idea this is how most of them are thinking. But like, the moment that they, so if they like throw bits at the streamer and the streamer's like, oh yeah, thank you, that was so nice of you, thank you so much and all that. Just because she shows a bit of generosity doesn't mean that she's interested in you. Like, there's so many men that develop this in their head. It's like, oh, she spoke to me, oh, she must like me, and then like this obsessive behavior starts.
Yeah, they become entitled.
Right?
Very obsessive.
Again, which is a very dangerous territory for female streamers, because this is how stalkers develop. This is how toxic behaviors develop. This is how hate campaigns start against female streamers.
And it's female gamers as well. Sorry to interrupt. But
no, it's fine.
Just DMs after matches, or just DMs on message requests on Discord, even just because you're female. Whether it's you're streaming or gaming, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't answer Discord DMs unless it's about a server that I'm on or I own. Otherwise, you've got no reason to be DMing us on Discord unless you're my friend.
Or unless I'm messaging about Greg's pastries as well.
Yeah, we're talking about Greg's pastries quite a lot. Because I'm from the north, so it's all about Greg.
If anyone is comfortable talking about it, has any one of you experienced any of these parasocial men coming in to like trying to actually pursue and facilitate this with one of you?
Yeah, I've had it quite a lot.
Oh God.
I get it quite a lot.
Has, yeah.
Yeah. I keep a lot of my life private, things like names and stuff, because I've had stalkers. I've had people contact my places of employment because I haven't given them what they wanted. I've had people stalk out my old Facebook, which was under my real name. It's now no longer under my real name, as well she will tell you.
Yep.
I try and make sure that a lot of my identifying information doesn't get out there. And I've scrubbed a lot of stuff from the internet over the past 2 years to make sure that it stays that way. I tend to find they have become entitled in the past. They've donated, they've sent gifts off Throne, they've gifted subs, and then have decided that it is their God-given right that they must sit in my Twitter DMs or Discord DMs. And then I'll thank them for the generosity, and then they'll try and develop a conversation, and then it'll probably take a turn that I'm not comfortable with. And you say no and they pretend that they're okay with it when they're really not, and they'll usually start hate campaigns and start bitching about you, the people, and try to turn people against you. I do keep a lot of my personal information quiet, but in part of the parasocial, I don't know if Bex can identify here, but sometimes when you get certain men that become really attached to you, the minute they find out that you are not single and not available, they suddenly don't want anything to do with you. As you can tell, I am not. And my partner is in a identifying job, and he has an identifying name, so I don't put him online. And he has requested that. A lot of my friends already know who he is, have seen pictures of him or videos of him, or met him in person or whatever. But he's got kids and he's in a sensitive area of work. So I wouldn't want any hate that I garnered because I'm a woman online to end up on him, because we know how unhinged these people can be at times. But I have found that they may have spent a lot of money, and then they'll make a really sexual comment, and I'll say, "Oh God, no! Like, I'm not comfortable with that, and I'm not available. Or how about I take you for a coffee?" And I'm like, I'm not available. And then suddenly they disappear from Discord, Twitch. They've unfollowed me. They blocked me on everything, and I'm suddenly like, Okay, so the 8 months that you spent being top gifter, top chatter, VIP, 100,000 channel points was nothing because I wasn't available for whatever fantasy you cooked up in your mind.
But you just know though that when sorry to interrupt you, Tony. You just know that somewhere in the darkest depths of Twitter, they've created a fake account and gone, this streamers are so into it, and they'll post screenshots of all the generosity. They'll take everything out of context and make it completely one-sided to make you look like the bad person. Where in actual fact that they are literally the unhinged, obsessive individual that they don't want the world to be made. They don't want to make out to the world. So, what were we going to say, Tony?
I am a very small streamer, but have had more of these experiences as a female gamer, such as my personal Discord I use for my friends. We would invite people we would play games with regularly, and we had someone who was in game development and mod development and talked about it all the time, and he was very, very creepy to all the women in my Discord. And we were too scared to ban him because he talked about knowing how to access people IPs addresses, and he would know things, like he found us on our personal socials. And in another instance, there's someone who, my name is not very common, so if you just knew in a general area of where I lived, I've had someone find my personal address before. I don't live there anymore, but it's very easy for these people to do, or just people who will do this and lash out because you don't want to associate with them anymore because they say and make these disgusting comments that really just creep you out and scare you, even though it's online, but it becomes real life very, very quickly. And that's not even from streaming. That's just from gaming and existing.
See, this is like what we just talked about. Is part of the reason why I wanted to address this, because, like I said at the start, as a male, I don't get any of this, and even though I see it, through various forms, whether it be like a streamer posting multiple screenshots from threads on Twitter or Instagram, or even modding in the groups, that's literally just as a surface level. Like, you guys talking about it, like the behind the scenes stuff, like going deeper into it, like that's obviously something I'm never going to experience because I was lucky enough to be born a male gender. But and I think this is what a lot of people don't really understand, is like, it's when people say it's harder to be a female content creator than it is a male, it really is harder to be a female content creator than a male one, because I don't have to put up with all the unnecessary abuse. I don't have to put up with being over sexualized. I don't have to worry about a lot of things. Like you guys, like even Kit just said then, she has to be very careful and meticulous about what she posts, where she posts, how she posts, and how she conducts herself online. I have that luxury of being less careful than that because I'm a male, and I want this like whole image of women having it easy just because of their gender to be kind of stomped down a bit, and try and like bring more people around to the idea of it's actually really fucking hard for you girls to get going out there. It really, really is. And like nobody deserves abuse online just for video games anyway. That's just a given anyway. But just to be broken down simply because you're female is just it confuses me, because it shouldn't make a difference what gender you are. I mean, we're all here because we share a love of video games, whether it be shooters, RPGs, single player, horror, whatever. We all enjoy playing them in one state or another, and surely that should be enough. Just to be like, they're enjoying what they're doing, they're happy doing it, just leave them the fuck alone. But it's this loud crowd that keeps pulling it back into the whole thing of girls shouldn't be gaming, girls should be doing this and this and this and this, and it's almost as if like there's this loud minority of people are just trying to control what you women are allowed to do and not do, and how you need to present yourself online to appease this little cluster of negative energy.
I think you've touched on how people say, oh, it's so easy to be a woman online, it's so easy to be a woman content creator. I think all the girls here will agree with this. It's 10 times harder because you've got boys on the internet. I'm not even saying men. I know real men.
No,
boys on the internet to argue with. You've got the odds are all against you. I once had a man come into my stream. So the picture that I posted to go along with me go live on Twitter came in, watched us no damage run an entire Resident Evil run, said, I honestly thought you were going to be shit at games because of how you look. But GG's, and I was just like...
Fucking hell. That's a backhand right there. Jesus Christ.
Hello? It's like, I thought you were going to be trash at games. It was like, this is meant to be a compliment. I was like...
It's really not.
It's not, but thanks. Like, and you get that kind of stuff coming in. You get men coming in thinking you're going to be shit, or thinking you're going to need backseating because you're a woman, therefore you're not good at games, and he knows better. But then I also think, and I want to touch on it with the ladies as well, is that we get a lot of backhanded comments from other women who see themselves as above us and us beneath them in the industry because of A, how we dress, B, how we look, or try and compete with
They have no
us
self-respect for themselves if they're going to dress like that. Or it's disgusting that groups allow people to show cleavage
Pick
the
me
way
bitches. And it's like, they'll be friends with you at first, but they'll be talking mad shit about you behind your back to other people.
Attention much.
Yeah,
for
to also
existence.
climb up. How many women have you had in your years on Twitch and stuff that have used you to climb up the sphere and gather men from your audience and make them up? But I'm not like other girls. I don't wear that much makeup, and I don't use a filter, and I don't wear clothes like that, and I don't play games like this, and I'm kind of trash, so maybe you can help us. Right? I think. Right, I've made so many female friends in the space that have ended up being like that, and then I've come across women who are so unashamed of being like that I've kept away from them. You know, very much, and I always say I'm a girl's girl. I don't care how you dress. I don't care how you look. If you wear makeup or wear none at all, I don't care if you're absolutely cracked at games or trash at games. If you're having the best time and you're comfortable with who you are, right, and you're not bitching about your friends behind their back, you know what? I'm happy to play games with you. I mean, I've had so much trauma from online gaming that when people say to me, oh, get a game and we'll play it together, I'm like, no. I play single player games, me. I don't play group game. I play single player games, me. People always say, let's collab on stream. And I'm like, no, I play single player games. I don't play group games. But I'm happy. Like, I've got an amazing small group of girlfriends that I've met through gaming. Shout out to the likes of like Kate and Holly and Sai and everyone like that. But I think it's so difficult to be a woman in this space because you are not just fighting against men, you are fighting against your
women.
own gender as well. Right? And it's so difficult to find your little space in this because people will see you doing well and they'll think, now this is a woman that I can climb off of.
Yeah.
And then they'll use you as a stepping stone up. And then you'll sit there and you'll think, was I just... No.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Oh my God. And you realise you've just been fucked over for 2 years by someone you once called a friend.
Yeah.
And I think, I know men get it as well. I know men have like fallouts and friendships and everything like that. But from all the men I've spoken to, you never get it at the extent that women get it. Because women can be cruel and cutting, and they can say some of the worst things and use your worst anxieties and insecurities against you to pull you down.
Yeah,
they get you where it hurts.
Yeah,
it's like it hurts even more when the misogyny comes from inside the house.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Like I have had personal friends, who've used my Discord in gaming with me personally to help them get affiliate, and I've pushed and pushed and pushed to help these women, and it's ended the same way every single time, with them just blocking me on everything, and it has now given me an anxiety of now I'm too scared to play games with certain people who are a lot more successful than me because I don't want it to seem like I'm trying to capitalize off of
I
their
get that
success.
so much. Yeah.
Can I just get a general feeling how someone describe how it feels? So obviously we've touched on the sexism and the misogyny from men, which is abhorrent. We can all agree on that. How does it feel when you're trying to stick up for the females, that you're trying to champion gaming for women, that it can be good, and eventually if we push back enough it will get better, and the loud stupid voices will calm down a bit. How does it feel when another female streamer tries to tear you down the same way a man does?
It's horrible.
It's
Absolutely horrible.
It's like women, obviously you should support everyone, but women should really support women more. And like we're all fighting the same battle. So obviously on some groups, when I see certain people, females, like bashing other women, and it comes from a place of spite, really, because I think you know the person I'm thinking of, who attacks women because they like to be comfortable and they post their clothes, whatever.
Right.
They're really
Even I know
confident
who
with
you're
it.
talking about.
I think
Yeah.
it comes from jealousy.
It's because someone's doing just a little bit. They're not doing amazing, but they're just doing slightly better than they are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because you do that, that's why you're doing
The
better. And
claws
it's
come
never
out, don't
like,
they?
well done you.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's horrible
Yeah.
to see.
I think it cuts worse when it comes from a woman as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like with men, I hate saying it. I'm so used to it. I just block and I don't think about
Yes.
it. Right?
Yeah.
I block and I don't
Yes.
think about it, and it doesn't sit with us anymore. Right? If a man gives us a load of crap on Twitter, hide reply, block account, not interested. If somebody gives us shit on YouTube, I do the same thing. Hide the reply and hide the account from YouTube. So that means they'll never show up on the YouTube to me or anybody else. So that they sit and yell into the void of the heart's content. So that it doesn't sit, but when a woman says it and a woman makes that kind of comment, or I see women posting that type of shit on Twitter, that cuts really deep. I've had women on Twitter block me because of how I look in photos. Right? And I don't need to see that. Well, I don't have my tits out, hon. I'm sorry that I've got a cleavage. I'm sorry there's a line between my tits, right? And it bothers you so much.
Let me tell you, that line takes down societies. Let me tell you right now.
It really does. Have you seen how much the amount of arguments and everything that I've torn down because of these on Twitter is unreal.
Actually, I don't know if anyone knows the reference, but the best way I can describe it is a South Park episode where the boys discover boobs, and it's like ta, and it's just little lines just drawn down the middle. It's like boobs will destroy society, and funny enough, the episode is called "Bebe's Boobs Will Destroy Society." And it's just, it's such a relevant thing, like in this scope of discussion to go through with it. Do we think though, if these women tearing other women down, if they knew about some of the figures, so some of the figures I've read out today about the representation, the abuse, the abuse that they get, the percentage of suicide and the percentage they want to hide their gender and etc. Do you think that if they knew that those stats existed, and they knew about how like damning and how that affects female gamers, would they change their attitude, or do you think that they're so set in their ways that they literally will run this campaign of hate no matter what?
I think that I think it's the latter, that they're so set in their own ways and they're in such denial and so full of like hatred, anger, spite, whatever the case may be. It wouldn't matter to them.
Yeah.
I'd also like to add that this is something that personally affects me in real life, and I don't even hardly stream anymore because I work so much. I am in some cases taken less seriously because I game, because I play dress up, because I stream on Twitch, and people make comments at me like that all the time, and I don't even stream regularly.
Yeah, I think Kit, I think you've made the point once. Every time the summer come around and it was warm, you would always put the start of summer. You'd always put out, "Women will be dressed less because it's warm. Grow the fuck up."
every
year,
summer for the
without
past
fail,
like 5 years.
Without fail. Without fail. That tweet will go out every single year without fail. And I
Also,
just know within a week of you putting that out, somebody will complain about how a woman's dressed.
yeah, because I also used to make that post every year, once or twice a year in the Facebook group that I mod for as well, to remind people that the women may be wearing something more comfortable in the burning heat, along with their PCs running and their lights running and everything else, with the sun shining
Doors
through their
closed, windows
windows.
closed.
Yeah, because it gets really hot in these rooms.
It does.
Like it's March and it's kind of cold here. I live in the north of England. It's kind of cold here.
Cold always in the
However,
north of England.
it is boiling. It is so hot. I have my fan on full, right? Because the PC is running. I have light everywhere, in front of me, above me, around me, right? It gets really warm in here.
Yeah.
And it is tiny. You can't swing a bag of cats around here, right? It's really small. So the heat collects. The radiator's right there, because the rest of my flat is really huge. And it gets really cold, and I don't like going to bed when it's cold. So I'm boiling. I'm sweating buckets right now. I'm wearing something that's comfortable for me. But in the summer, like, my fan's still on full, besties. Like, my lights are still on. The PC's still running. The door's still closed because my dog's a menace.
Yeah.
Right? So it gets really hot in here, and I have to constantly remind men on these Facebook groups and on Twitter that it is hot, and women will be wearing something that's more comfortable. If you can wear a wife beater and chug a can of Carlin in the middle of summer while you stream, then we can sit in a tank top, right, with our fans on and a glass of wine or a glass of water or whatever it is to remain hydrated and cool, right? It's like men expect us to sit in like a turtleneck in a sweltering room in the middle of summer when it's like 30 odd degrees, right? No, I'm not dying for you on stream. It's against terms of service anyway. I get banned.
No, you will wear that. You will wear that giant. You will wear that giant itchy summer Christmas jumper in the middle of summer, and you will fucking enjoy it.
Exactly.
It's so bad that we need like a disclaimer for summertime though. Like that is
Right?
it's going to annoy me when it comes to summertime, because I know what the comments are gonna be. It's gonna be triggering. Ow.
Yeah, that triggering. You kick your desk.
Yeah, keep my desk. I'm that mad. I'm mad in advance.
But yeah, I think because she's seen it as well, I put a disclaimer every year in the Facebook group that I'm on. I make sure anytime there's like a stupid comment and so, well, you wouldn't dress like that, wouldn't you? Well, ban, right? Yeah,
straight up.
2020, get out. Right?
Goodbye.
I don't care. Like, you make a stupid comment like that, you win a stupid prize. You're gone, go, leave. I'm not, because it's too hot and I can't be bothered. Right? I can't be bothered to mod your stupid comments, so I'm just going to ban you because my life's easier that way.
Exactly.
You know? And I have to put a disclaimer that I, who usually sits with my big bazungas out in the middle of winter, but that I might be wearing even less in the summer, like, I hate wearing bras. I'm wearing one right now, but I hate wearing bras. But the amount of times I've had to say, like, just ignore my tits, please, it's hot. And the amount of times that I've had to zoom my camera in or, like, lower myself so I'm just a pea head on my camera so nobody focuses on this area because I'm so hot and I'm irritated with the heat as well in the summer, so I get nasty. I don't need to scream at random people that come in, right? But I think I hate the fact that we'll have to have a disclaimer. I hate the fact that women can't just be comfortable and happy with who they are, that they have to have lines and lines and lines of text about the amount of like positive affirmation posts that I've made to protect female streamers on Twitter over the years have had to be like this long.
Literally.
18 pages.
It's bigger than the fucking Magna
like 18
Carta.
replies. Yeah. 18 replies of you need to start respecting women. You know? Because it's hard and it's hot. It's the middle of summer. Just leave us alone.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about it, people will come in on your posts and start complaining.
Yes.
Because why are you talking about this all the time? Well, because y'all won't shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's always the hypocritical comments. It's like, yeah, well, what's the difference that you dress like that all year round anyway? Because you fucking can. Like, it's no harm to it. Like, what? Like, at the end of the day, You are in your own house. Dress how you want to dress in your own house. It's not like you're parading out in the middle of the town square. You know, it should be what people should just they should just accept that that's how you're comfortable. Like, you know?
Do you know what it is? We're talking about that, and yeah, I live in the north of England, and the minute a crack of sunlight comes out, you got men walking down this street with their shirts off, looking like Dickie Rock.
Oh yeah, the construction workers are out in the grey shorts, white trainers.
Nobody says anything about that.
Nah.
Like, but yeah, if I went out in a pair of shorts and a bikini top, it's your own fault for getting harassed.
The thing is, even if you are covered, you still cannot win.
No,
so even though we're talking about like wearing less at summer, we again, like, I can literally post a picture with this done up. Now because I'm hot, but I can have this up and I will have comments on all of my self promos, and this is up. Yeah. I'm covered, and I'd still get something. You just can't win no matter what the season is. More clothes, less clothes, we just cannot win, and it's just because we're female.
If you're wearing more clothes or you're covered up in a blanket or something like that, you got comments like, that's a filter, you wear too much makeup, you only get where you are because you're pretty, and you're like, oh my god, can I win?
You can't win.
But like, the moment you say, why are there no female streamers in the top 20 on Twitch? They people like that constantly change their rhetoric to suit their own rhetoric.
All the time.
Every
well,
time.
It's because they started earlier, and back when it was only men and this and that and the other thing. And also to add on to what you were saying about you only got there because you're beautiful and stuff like that. I remember early days of when I started modding in our groups. And I was standing up for somebody else, and I was talking about how, like, here's the difference between me and her, and I have my camera on and all this different stuff, and I'm a woman, and, like, making those differences because I work a full-time job. I'm a mom, all these different things, and she was not, she did this full-time, and pointing out the special attention that she gave people and the connections that she made and everything. And, as soon as I started talking about that, it was, well, basically you're ugly and you should turn off if you turn off your webcam, then you'll actually get more.
I couldn't see that now. I'd get banned. I couldn't see that. I couldn't see it. I'm telling you. I would go mental all over Facebook.
It was seriously one of the funniest things of just like watching them backpedal as much as they did to like, well, here's the reason why, because of that, because you're proving my argument wrong, so I'm gonna flip the script here.
I'm gonna post a quick question to chat just to see if they get the answer whilst we talk for a little bit longer. I want people in chat to guess how many paid creators on Twitch in the top 100 are female. I'll give you guys a few minutes to figure that out. The whole thing of like, even with you, like, most of your cosplays are just like fully clothed, like full makeup, fully clothed. You've even pranced around your own room in a fucking inflatable Tyrannosaurus Rex, like how the fuck do you sexualize that? Like, how can you know what I mean?
I mean, most of my cosplays are ridiculous. There is nothing cute about my inflatables. I mean, it was a sumo ballerina, so it was technically a bikini top.
Beautiful. The big sumo.
It was great. But the amount of hate that I get from them, like, what can I do? Like, I dressed up as a mop. I had nothing. I was covered. I had a little. That was all I had. And it was just like, you just do this for views. And I'm just having fun. Like, shut up. Oh, it gets me so angry. This is why you have to have thick skin now. Because now I clap back, they don't like it.
But the same with that, though. So say, like, you cosplayed a character from a game who is sexualized naturally because of the way that she's drawn and designed and whatever. And you cosplay that. And it's a character that is very popular amongst, male and female audiences. And you cosplay that like absolutely immaculate image for image. You would still get hate for it because you're still being classed as sexualizing yourself for content, even though you're literally cosplaying a character that is already sexualized before that.
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
again just doesn't make any like again it
Mhm.
the where the boundaries start. There's no clear indication of like for you guys like what is actually acceptable and what isn't acceptable. Like you guys are constantly in a war of attrition that you just cannot. It's always one step forward and then two steps back constantly.
Mhm. Like, I feel like the people, or the majority, that do choose to hate and argue until they're doing slightly better than whoever they're attacking. That's when they'll like slow it down, but then they'll attack another female that's doing better than them in the future. Like it doesn't stop. It never ends. And again, we just cannot win, no matter what you do. I've literally done my vest top on stream because it's hot, it's summer, whatever. Hey, I have done literally to the point where it was just the circle of my face on stream. Hey, and it's just like, what do you want? You just want me to stop streaming. That's what it comes down to. You just do not want me in this online space. That is what it is. You're intimidated, you're jealous, you're spiteful, and it's not happening. I'm not going nowhere. None of us are.
Even like touching on what Tony said earlier, in regards to like playing Overwatch and just hearing a female voice. Even if you had no camera and you were literally just a screen of game tech, just a screen of game, and you were playing and people just heard you would still get dragged back for it because people assume that you're doing well because you're female. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it.
A lot of these men will watch the likes of XQC and Asmongold and all this kind of stuff, and then will complain that women have it easier when these men earn more for doing absolutely nothing on stream, right? Except sit there and react to other people's content. Right? That's not me shitting on the likes of XQC and Asmongold. I don't know them as people, and one of my favorite people is Moist Critical. I love Charlie. But I love watching his like challenges on YouTube and stuff like that. I think he's great, and he's very pro women and everything like that. But like they idolize these men, right, who sit and do nothing on stream and put very low effort content. All Asmongold does is sit for 13 hours a day and either play World of Warcraft or react to other people's content. XQC used to be, was he a really good Overwatch player?
He was one of the original Overwatch competitive league players.
Competitive, yeah. And now what he does is low effort content, sit and reacting to other people's stuff, right? Yet they will turn on a female streamer who has 30 viewers and say that she is doing well for herself and all she's doing is sexualizing herself. So where's the hate for XQC with these 15k viewers getting up from his chair and walking off while letting other people watch somebody else's YouTube video, right? How is the hate not being directed at somebody who's doing better than you, right? Yet you're targeting some tiny little 30 viewer female streamer because she's doing semi okay.
Yeah.
Like,
and
do you know what it is? I get a lot of, why are you sitting with your tits out? Well, why the fuck not, right? If this is how I'm comfortable and this is how I'm happy and this is how I dress, I'm not trying to be anybody else. Like, well, she's known this for 4 years now. I've never changed over the 4 years. 4 years she's known
You're
this.
still the same. Right? Your name may have changed, but you're still the same person.
I'm still the same. Like this. And I think allow women to be authentically themselves, no matter what that is. You know, if she's a bitch, the trash will take out itself. Like if she's using you, or she's going to be a pick-me or anything. If she's a genuine good creator, these don't matter. These don't give me superpowers to no damage run and speed run. Right? These don't give me superpowers. These do. This does sitting for 18 hours. Right, forgetting that I have a life and food in the cupboards to eat, and I have to go to sleep because I've got work the next morning, teaches me how to be a good challenger.
Discord.
So I sound like a sweaty gamer, I know, but it's not about these. It's about.
Did we lag? Is
I
it just
think we
me?
all must
Yeah,
have
yeah.
lagged.
Discord's having
Okay.
having a shit again.
Yeah.
It's been really
No,
weird.
I know I sound like a sweaty gamer when I say sitting there for like 13, 18 hours a day challenge running with this and this keyboard and these, right? Dedication is what made me a good challenge runner,
Mm.
right? Not these. These didn't teach me anything, right? And I think any man who tends to say that these steal viewers, I fucking wish they did. I wouldn't mind 15,000 viewers, right? Right? I wouldn't mind the money that Asmongold makes, right? For just
Please.
sitting in my chair. Please. I wouldn't mind not having to go to a regular job, right? I wish these gave us viewers. I wish these gave me magic powers, right? They don't, right? They might get us out of trouble now and again, but they don't do anything else, right? So I think this whole mentality of a woman is only valued by her breasts or her appearance, I very sadly don't think that view is going anywhere in the
No.
gaming sphere.
No.
But I think the more people that speak out about it, and we need more men like you who defend women out there when they see it. We need more men standing up for women in the gaming and content creation sphere. If you see it, say something.
Yep.
Don't just sit by idly and be like, oh, I'm sorry, hun. Like, oh, I can't believe you get hit. Well, you see it happen, so stand up for it.
Yeah. I know, like, we are sort of going on the women, but I did just want to say, for the amount of men that do defend us, the amount of crap that they get, I think is absolutely disgusting and is also up there. Obviously, I've seen the DMs of people that have defended us and have had the disgusting messages sent.
Yeah,
it's honestly sickening.
Gross.
White knight.
Oh.
Well, no,
there's
like trying to ruin someone's lives with rumors and accusations, and the spiteful, bitter men literally will go out of their way to literally ruin a man for defending a woman for literally promoting her streams.
It's gone to like the reason why I had to create a different Facebook account was on my personal one. When I was modding the groups, some guy got so offended he actually took a picture of my wife, blocked me, and then started going into other Twitch groups and dehumanizing her in other Twitch groups. So
I remember that. It was so disgusting.
People are vile.
Yeah. So, I mean, unfortunately, one of the groups was a Facebook group dedicated to a S4S Discord, which we probably all know which one it is. But like the fact that like people are willing to go to that length just to try and, I don't know, prove a point to me, to try and like be like, oh, if you stand up for women again, this is what's gonna happen. It's like, well, it's really annoying that you did that to my wife. Like wait, I don't care what they do to me, but the fact they did that to my wife was fucking bang out of order. And like I'll stand up. I'll always stand up for it's not just goes for women. I'll always stand up for people who are in the right. Like I won't. If someone's just being hated on for absolutely no fucking reason, I will fight their corner for him. It doesn't matter to me. It's like extended away from women. People get hated on for being part of the LGBT community. People get hated for being, person of color, being certain people get bullied for being, autistic, ADHD, other forms of disabilities. I mean, I just don't understand. I just don't understand why. Like, there's like video games are meant to be inclusive for all. Like, there's nothing on the back saying you can't play this because you are this gender. You can't play this because you are this sexuality. You can't play this because of X, Y, Z. There's nothing that should. The only thing that's actually stopping a lot of people from playing certain games is the communities. Like,
could you imagine if the gaming companies actually said, you know what, men, you're not allowed to play this game? Could you imagine? But I'm like, but you're also doing that to other people.
Yeah.
All right, by making these comments, you're literally doing that. You're stopping people from playing games that they enjoy. But imagine, like, the companies, if they just said, sorry, men, you're not allowed to buy this game. Could you imagine? Okay. But why is it okay and normal for people to do it to females in general? No, it's not okay. It bugs me.
I think some of it comes from, like, I still think there are a lot of men, a lot of males are still in the whole we need to oppress women corner. Like, let's be honest, for decades, I know this is going away from video gaming now, but I feel like it is relevant to the conversation there. Women were oppressed for decades, as in if they got married and settled down, they weren't to leave the house. The man has to do everything. This is what the man does. This is what the woman does. And over the years, it's gone a little bit better, but it's clear to see in some corners of society, i.e., video games, that is still far away from the case. It's like we don't live in an era where women should be oppressed. We don't live in an era where women should feel like they should feel empowered to go and do what they want to do. Like all the things that men said over the years that women can't do, they should be like, nah, fuck that. If I want to do it, I will go do it. Like like in the sector I work in engineering, women are celebrated for picking up the engineering roles because for years they said no, it's a man's job. It's too hard for women. Well, technically, it's not. Like, there's plenty of women I work with that could easily do the job I do, and they do it very, very well. And it's not, who knows how long they could have been able to do that for years, but because it was we lived in such a society where women had to stay in the house, they had to look after they had to look after the children, they had to cook, they had to clean, they had to make everything right for the man to come home to. That I think that there's still a lot of that old school mentality still within people, where they're like, no, women shouldn't be seen gaming, women shouldn't be seen doing this because it's not a female thing to do. When, as you said, imagine if video games weren't advertised to men. Like, if you can't buy this game because you're a male, what the fuck would happen to that then? There would be absolute uproar, But there's nothing. Exactly. There's no one's ever said like you can't play this game because you're female. You can't play this game because you're male. It's made for everyone. Like I wouldn't say to someone, oh yeah, you can't play Animal Crossing. You're way too manly for Animal Crossing. You want to play Animal Crossing? Go play Animal Crossing. It's
literally.
It beggars belief. It honestly beggars belief. The answer to the question earlier of how many top 100 paid creators, how many are on there on Twitch? Does anyone like to hazard a guess?
3.
I think that we're down to 2 now.
I was gonna say, since Pokemon left, is it 2?
Yeah,
I think it's down to 2 now.
3.
It is 3. Okay.
There's 3 out of 100. 3% out of 100. Top creators on Twitch are female.
But we've got it easy now.
Oh, of course,
and one of them's one of them's Amaranth.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking the top creators out of 100. How many hot tub streamers emulate the likes of Amaranth? We still only have 3 in the top 100, and Amaranth doesn't even break the top 20.
No, she doesn't.
It's crazy.
The top 20 is male dominated now.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm stealing viewers, right? Can someone teach me? I'm not doing it right. Someone teach me how to steal viewers.
I've been told that it's boobs, but like I have bigger boobs than just about anybody that I know, and I'm still they're not just like magically blocking, Jimmy. What's going on?
Yeah, but the biggest boobs on Twitch are most Warzone streamers, so you're failing on that front there. But it does roll into the esports topic. So again, not exactly fun reading when I was looking this up. So there are no female gamers in the top 300 earners of global prize money at esports level. There is 0.
Wow.
The highest ranked female is ranked 378. And even then, her earnings are a fraction of those even in the top 200, even like 200, 150.
Wow.
There is and this links into the top, well, linking into that point. Because there's a lack of female role models, prominent female role models within the esports industry, whether that be COD, Apex, CSGO, Rainbow, whatever. Women just aren't motivated to pursue a competitive career, no matter how good they think they are at games and how well they think they can do against the odds of the male toxicity. Sorry, they still don't want to pursue it. Pro women's teams are not taken seriously due to the gender, which I think we can all understand that is probably a given how most esports teams seem very frat boy and very testosterone driven. There was a discussion which is a bit of a step forward, step back situation where there is a esports Formula 1 team that have created a female only league, which is great because females get to compete at a competitive level. But I would like to make the point that there is nothing physically taxing about playing video games. It doesn't matter. It should matter what gender you are, what your physical abilities are. Should not matter. There is nothing physically taxing about sitting down with a fucking controller or mouse and keyboard and playing games. So I do not understand. Whereas I see what they're trying to do in creating a female-only league to give females the representation to compete at a competitive level, I do not agree with the split. And I think that they should be focusing that effort more on putting those female gamers amongst the male gamers and giving them the competition that they clearly want. I feel like the female-only league is kind of like a token gesture. Like, we'll let you compete competitively, but only against people within your gender. And I feel like, whereas it may look good, they could be doing better on that front.
I agree.
What do we think?
I do agree.
It's not surprising.
No.
I don't do esports, but I have friends that play a lot of I've got a friend who plays competitive Overwatch, and I dabbled in competitive Fortnite for a laugh once and was rather surprised at how good I was. I was like, oh, I'm going to be so shit at this. And I got like second on ranked and I was like, well, actually, I'm not too bad at this. But I think the very male-orientated space of esports is very unattractive to women. It's male-led and it's unfortunately male-owned as well. There is probably not, I don't know if there is any women at all that figureheads in esports. It's all male-led. All the team leaders are male. Like, everybody who organizes is male. Like, everybody behind the scenes is male. This is again like the question that you posed to us earlier in the stream, where you talked about how can we get more female representation in games? How do we get more female representation in esports? Is by adding more women to the teams, to the behind the scenes, to encourage and make women feel safer. Because I don't mean to speak for all my fellow girlies, but there is nothing more unsafe and unappealing to women than being thrust into a team or a work team or whatever that is just surrounded by men.
No.
In terms of women in the gaming industry, for these well-known names, within the last year there have been some major layoffs in these companies. I would really like to know what percentage of that would be women, and then see what the percentage of women were left at that same company, while also getting the percentage of women versus men at the company. Because I feel like even that would be very similar to all the other statistics.
Maybe, but maybe not. As somebody in game development, there are not actually that many of us. That a lot of the layoffs will primarily be men. However, I do know that a team was it Activision was laid off, and all the female team members had been laid off over the year, meaning that the final one was laid off in the most recent layoffs, leaving absolutely no women in that team. I think it was a COD team.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so that there are absolutely no women left in that team. It is all male orientated inside one of the COD teams at the moment. I think a lot of the layoffs, from what I know, were primarily men, because that is primarily who works in the gaming industry. Which is unfortunate, and I think more women should be encouraged to be within the industry. I think women have been... I'm 34 this year, and a lot of us were pushed to be nurses or librarians or home makers.
Yeah.
teachers, very feminine-based jobs, secretaries, admin assistants, community practitioners, anything that was very feminine-based, you know. And I think a lot of that is turning around. And I always say this now, doesn't matter how old you are never too old to change a career and pursue something that you love.
Mhm.
And I fully encourage people to chase that, no matter how old you get. I would still very much like to pursue paleontology at 34. But there is no one near me that does it. So because you've got to learn C++ and programming and coding and everything like that. I think for women is it women learn maths, struggle with maths a bit more, numbers a bit more, and they're better with like letters and stuff. I think
usually
it was,
better at English and grammar than they are
yeah,
at maths. Yeah.
than they are at maths and numbers.
Yeah.
And that is what game development is it's very much number based, coding based. And I think it would be better to encourage more women to get into something like that. I do think that, I mean, when I was growing, I don't know how old everybody is here, but when we were growing up, it was less girls playing games. I was bullied in school all the way through because I love playing games. But my mum massively encouraged it because she thought that gaming would be something in the future. That it's not just a stagnant thing that'll fizzle out and go out within a few years. She was like, this is going somewhere. And because my little autistic self didn't like going outside and doing things that other kids like doing, I liked staying inside, playing games, reading books. I had ring binders full of dinosaur facts that I used to write myself, right? I'm obsessed with dinosaurs, I still am. I used to do all that kind of stuff. I used to write the cheat codes and my own walkthroughs and stuff and where secrets were in Tomb Raider and Resident Evil and everything. Keep them in ring binders in my room.
Cards
Yeah.
to school.
Yeah. I used to collect Pokemon cards. I had all 150.
I still do.
Yeah. I made my mum take us to McDonald's every week while the Pokemon card thing was on so I could get every single one of them.
I do that as an adult.
Yeah.
I'll have my.
I don't have the money, unfortunately.
I will have my 4-piece chicken nuggets Happy Meal, and I will enjoy it with my
please
Pikachu.
have a Happy Meal, please?
Yeah, it's all
For
like
my child.
Yeah, I'm mentally a child. I present as an adult, but mentally I'm a child.
So, like, I grew up doing all that, and my mum is a wonderful human. She's in the chat. I think she's lurking and watching. But she used to encourage me. She encouraged me massively to continue my pursuit of gaming and geek culture. And I wish I had the money to continue collecting Pokemon cards. It's a very expensive hobby to have. However, as you can see, I've developed another one. And I think these days, we're seeing, I mean, back when we were kids, that split of 50-50 of gamers being male and female was against us. That split was probably 15% female and 75% male.
You'd be lucky if it was 15%, to be honest. Back
yeah,
in the
to
90s,
be fair,
yeah.
gaming was never advertised for women.
No.
Like I said earlier, Lara Croft was sexualized and pushed towards men, whereas I just thought she was really fucking cool, right? And what a woman for climbing all these ruins and finding all these artifacts and nothing but a pair of shorts and a tank top, right? Jill Valentine making her way through Raccoon City and nothing but a miniskirt and a boob tube. What a hero, right? What a hero. Claire Redfield, cycling shorts and a tank top. And do you remember the body warmer type things? Right. The vests, right? The 90s fashion was out there.
Do you remember old Lara Croft where her boobs were just
triangle? Yeah, that's it. The PS1 graphics. Yeah, the triangle.
And it was still just.
You know, they managed to push to a large male audience, right? I know people complained about Jill Valentine's costume, but as Capcom have put it, it is 90s clubbing outfit, and she wasn't at work. No. She was on her day off, right?
Exactly. Give her a day off, man.
Right? If I had to run around in a zombie apocalypse that just popped off one day, and the clothes that I regularly wear, I'd probably look a little bit like that, so I'd be screwed too, right? There's no time to change, just get out there and run.
Yeah.
You know? gaming was pushed towards men. These days, it's pushed towards both of us. It's pushed towards such a wide range of people. And I think that we're coming sort of to a time where gaming is more pushed towards women, because that's what they're aiming for now. They're aiming for a larger female audience. You're aiming for a larger minority audience. Hence, we're having a lot of female minority characters, you know. And I think that's great, because I think it's more representation for games that we played growing up. I could never identify it was Lara Croft. Lara Croft was gorgeous. Lara Croft is still very unattainable as a female figure, unless you are Angelina Jolie. Right? Nobody's hit Lara Croft quite like Angelina did, right? That role was made for her. So to me, Lara Croft is still a very unattainable female image, right? Well, unless you get through plastic surgery and stuff.
Well,
And you know what? If that makes you feel comfortable, you go ahead and do that.
Who is the one?
You have those jiggle physics in these games where if you're a female and you just stay at Ghost Watchers, I'm specifically talking about Ghost Watchers. You're a female, you're sitting there, and your boobs are just moving.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
So weird.
what is the purpose?
Who's the last female actress to play? Was it Alicia Vikander? Played the
Yeah.
She didn't. She looked quite close to the modern day version of Lara Croft.
The 2013 Lara Croft.
Yeah, she looked close to that. She looked close. So that version might be obtainable.
And I think as we're pushing forward, I don't think the hate is going to stop from men, but I do think more women are going to take over the industry very slowly over the years.
Good.
And there's going to be more women in development. And I hope to God that things change so there are more women in esports, right? Yeah, I mean, gaming is not, there's no physical draw to it that would differentiate men to women. I can go further than most men can in gaming, right? I can do more than half of these guys that leave horrible comments on my pictures, right? I'd like to do a one-on-one against some of these salty little boys and see who gets further in Resident Evil quicker or without any damage. And I bet you any money I'd come out on top.
Probably would. Yeah.
Any guys that leave nasty comments on Emily's posts, I bet you could absolutely annihilate them in a COD lobby. You know, because they don't have any skill behind them. They're just angry.
1v1 the youngest fam. Yeah, they are all
they're
talk.
directing their anger at people that they think they should be angry to.
Well,
it's not us. It's not our fault. We don't care.
It's who they think is the easy target. Because in their heads, they think that women are inherently weaker because they're the man, so they're inherently stronger. So if they clap at you, they don't expect you to clap back. So when they clap back, their ego is shattered so quickly that their backs are up and they can't back down. They've put themselves in a corner and they can't get out of it unless they either just walk away licking their own wounds, or they put their money where their mouth is, and then end up walking away licking their wounds. But it's going to like Priz was saying then about like the Resident Evil characters being these strong women, Lara Croft being a strong woman as well, like this inspirational early video game figure that was like an icon for women to get into gaming. You can kind of look a little bit further back at like some of the old Nintendo games and think they didn't exactly portray women in the best of it. If you think about Mario, it's a story about a plumber going rescuing a princess. Link is exactly the same. They put the women in a helpless position, and it's the man that has to go and rescue the princess. It's very Disney cliche-esque, where the women are useless and don't talk much, and it's the man who's very dominating. Like even most of the enemies are all male orientated. So it is like, as much as like a lot of the the female video game protagonists are heavily sexualized, and they are badly written and designed because most of them are designed by men rather than women. Can anyone think of like modern day female protagonists, just strictly out of like their position in their video game, who do you reckon could bring empowering women to be like stand up and like take notice of games more, and could be like a nice catalyst to project more women in a protagonist feature?
I do think the new Lara Croft, like the 2013 one, they made her slightly whiny, but they did make her very, very strong about certain things. I think if they put the new Lara Croft in a very old school setting, which is like raiding the tombs and the secrets and artifacts and stuff, that would have been fine. But I do think the more modern Lara Croft was very pioneering, should change things. It was different. And you've got the new Jill Valentine. I like the new Claire Redfield. I don't care what anybody said. I liked her, you know. I thought she was cute. I liked that, and she was strong, and she didn't give a shit, you know. In regards to the games that I would play, I loved Freya in the God of War games. You know, her kind of like fight and struggle about keeping her son alive, and then the fight after he died, and how fucking tough she was. I loved her in that. Probably not no, this would probably be popular, but I liked Sadie from Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Like, what a woman.
What a woman.
What a woman. But I like the fact that Abigail was able to stand up for herself when John still decided to do mercenary work.
Yeah.
And she was like, absolutely not, I'm taking the kids and I'm going. Like, she stood up for herself in a time when that wasn't very normal back then, you know. Yeah, we've got V in Cyberpunk.
Aloy from Forbidden,
yeah.
Cassandra,
Cassandra. And I unpopular opinion, but I really liked the Greek Assassin's Creed. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did not like
Odyssey?
the Viking one. Yeah, I didn't like the Viking one. There was too much in that one.
Odyssey is the Greek one, I believe.
Yeah, but I didn't like Valhalla.
I think that Baldur's Gate did a really good job. While there are multiple, but there were so many women who were warriors, very well known, even from previous games. And someone in the game, for instance, huge part of a story portrays women as strong warriors. She's also a lesbian. Great content. Like, I think they just did amazing with not the damsel in distress thing, but women are warriors. They're doing it. They're doing the dang thing. You know what I mean?
Someone mentioned Bayonetta as well. Excellent shout for Bayonetta. She always reminds me of the female answer to Dante from Devil May Cry.
Yes.
I don't know what, it's just something about her just screams, yeah, you are definitely Dante in a female form. Skyrim has great female warriors. A lot of people saying Cassandra.
Women portrayed as villains.
Yeah.
Like Lilith in Diablo.
Lilith in Diablo, yeah. Oh, I think it's some female villains.
Very strong, but you felt like when it came to her, it's like it's not a evil villain. It was I kind of understand.
Yeah. Although I didn't really understand him. Who's the I can never remember the name. Kate. Who was the female boss in Code Veronica? Was it Alexia?
Is it Alexia?
Alexia, yeah. I mean, bit of a twisted one there, but she's the first one that came to my head. I don't know why.
Yeah, so is our brother.
Yeah. Lady D.
How's that gonna? Yeah, Lady
D. Lady D. Although a very sexualized villain, she is quite iconic now because of her release.
Capcom knew what they were doing with Lady D. They threw her all over the advertisements.
Yeah, they did.
Big booba, 8 foot tall, feeding into everybody's like 8 foot
goth
mommy.
Yeah.
Like fantasies. And then she's over at the start of the game.
Literally,
like,
oh fuck.
And it's the fact of she eats men, but I like her anyways.
Harris. So someone in chat has just
mentioned. As women, we kind of relate to that. Like, yeah,
like you go girlfriend.
Yeah, you go girl. Empowered.
So someone in chat just mentioned a very dark horse named Samus from Metroid.
Yeah.
For years, people thought that Samus was male.
Spudley mentioned Melania for female enemies as well.
Who's Melania from?
Elden Ring. I tend to think, and I'm not the biggest fan of FromSoft because they've got very questionable work ethics at FromSoft. But very questionable work ethics at FromSoft. However, I do think they write female villains very, very well. Very three-dimensional female villains. So yeah, I do like the Dark Souls villains. Both male and female, I think they're very three-dimensional. I think a lot of the women become enemies through their own pain as well, which I think a lot of women who might have been through things as well can kind of understand that and understand roads that we take to become that. I'm trying to think of games that I've played, but I stay very much in my little
Bubble
circle of video games in regards to
Parasite Eve, Dino Crisis, Final Fantasy. Obviously, Tifa Lockhart is an iconic video game character.
Aerith.
I think
what I liked about alright, chat are gonna shoot me. I've never played a Final Fantasy game.
Neither have I.
I've just watched them be played, and I love watching them being played. Right, my friend Sai used to stream Final Fantasy VII Remake in PlayStation Party, so I could watch her. So what I love about when I've seen it is the rather tomboyish, kick-ass. I suppose she is quite sexualized because of her outfit, but the very tomboy, kick-ass attitude of Tifa is very much kind of not mirror, but like an opposite to the very gentle feminine side that is Aerith. And you're shown two very different female leads in that game, and I think they did that really well. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Mother Miranda in Resident Evil 8,
yeah,
she was a wonderful enemy. Yeah,
she was, and she was designed very well as well. I felt, yeah. I think what might be interesting is just for curiosity's sake, is if we go one by one and describe what your ideal female protagonist would be. We'll go top left all the way around. So, unfortunately, Tony, I'm gonna put you first on here again. If you were designing your female protagonist, what would it be, and what would you like that character to represent?
Just women are perceived as being emotional, whether they're the villain or the protagonist, and I would like to create one that is strong but also has problems. Like, I would like to normalize problems that are perceived as emotional, and that be the motive for that character, perhaps, but also have realistic body types. You see these skinny, big-breasted women, and I would like to, like, that's not everyone. And I'd just like to, you know what I mean? I can't use my words right now, obviously, because you picked me first again.
Sorry, you want a female character that kind of represents a more everyday female.
Like a body positive, like, just like Barbie. There's a stereotypical Barbie, but there's a bunch of other Barbies too.
Yeah, I get you.
I would like that, but also with a lot more body positivity. And it doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, you can still be strong in whatever type of game that it is.
I love that.
Regardless of your gender.
I like that. That's good. That is. Because that kind of incorporates that, like, that character kind of welcomes, like, gaming is for everyone, no matter what you look like on the other side of it, and I feel like that's an important representation as well, especially in, which is, you know, a discussion for way another day, but, you know, in a society where, you know, image is everything, you've got filters on social media, you got to look at a certain angle, you got to hold your breath in, you got to take in certain lights just to look better. I feel like that would, what you described, would represent a really good, healthy character.
I feel like you don't have to have this skinny, hot protagonist in order to sell a video game.
No, I mean,
people capitalize on that, and it's really disgusting. But I just want one that is body positive, mentally positive, and welcoming for all of the communities.
I know, going slightly off topic, but I feel the same way when I look at like a male character where he's like ripped with fucking muscle on muscle on muscle on muscle. It's like they're like a dime a dozen character for a male. Like every male in every game is like this. You know, I want to see like a dad bod or like some rotund character, like main character, just to control. But no, I do like that. Becky, what would your protagonist be and represent?
I agree with Denaecious. I'd love to see a more realistic, not to say that hypersexualized women aren't real, but just in general, like this is all we ever see. 99% of the time, this is what female protagonists are gonna look like. It just, yeah. The only thing that I would say is maybe like making sure that there's not too much of an overcorrection, because some people who try to sway away from the norm kind of tend to go too far the other direction and make it like this is very purposeful that she's not all the other characters. Like it doesn't have to be so extreme to the other side. Let's have some what's the word I'm looking for?
Representation.
Thank you. That's it. It's there. I know it's there.
It's Friday brain for you.
Yes. I've also heard her talked a lot about when they try to bring out characters that they don't have a lot of representation in other ways, like minority representation, Black characters, even the hairstyles. They might throw in some Black characters, but they're still traditionally white hairstyles, and stuff like that. And I'd like to see just more overall representation, not just this skinny white girl with big boobs. Yeah. And that's it.
An appropriate cultural representation.
Agreed.
Right. Like you were talking about with the skin and the name behind it and everything like that. Like actually work with people who are in these I'm sorry, my words are so gone today. In these communities, that's the word I'm looking for. And in these communities, bring people in to actually consult with so that there's legitimate representation.
No, I agree.
And not stereotypical representation.
Yes. Yeah.
No,
sorry.
Create.
Oh no, you're good.
Create the character that women want to see rather than more than what men want to see.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and that is I'm 100% positive that's why this came out to begin with, is because they were created for the male gaze.
You're probably 100% correct on that assumption.
I don't know if you've ever seen. There is actually somebody created a meme at one point about like the armor that's created for women and how terrible it is. If you've ever seen like RPGs and stuff like that, some of the games they just have like a bikini armor. And that's it.
Yeah.
And number one, how bad that would be for actual protection. You're protected against literally nothing. But then they've also put men in the same kind of thing where like they're wearing a Speedo of armor and nothing else. It was great.
I don't want to interrupt, but Diamond made a really good point of that would be creating more jobs too.
Yeah.
In the cultural department.
It would.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to employ more people of that community as like a consultant or a representation of that community to bring to life a character that represents that specific demographic.
Just one input, we already do. We actually hire from outside companies to consult with us in regards to character.
That's great.
Fantastic.
More companies
should exist like that.
Yes.
I think there's only a small handful of companies but they're all outside. They're not in-house a lot of the time. We reach out to outside companies to help with making sure that our games are appropriate and character representation is appropriate. To go out, especially when you're talking about remakes of games from the 90s and early 2000s. We touched on one very earlier, and I'll just say that's going to be a difficult one to bring to the future.
No, I mean, the fact that, that company is looking at outside companies and small companies to bring that representation to the table is, I think, is key, because it starts those conversations, and then in the hope that that conversation, then when something comes to the public forum, it also spreads the conversations around communities, and it creates healthy discussion, and it creates a more healthier attitude to say, like, these characters are coming into the game more, we have been excluding them for whatever reason, get used to it, otherwise there's the door.
Just don't play it.
Oh, exactly, yeah. If you don't like it, don't play it. Don't like it, don't complain about it. Just go play something else.
Don't come back. I will get my money elsewhere. It's
exactly.
All good.
What would your ideal character be, Emily?
So I agree with all points. See, I would like a character that's personal to me. So more customizable. My words. Let me customize my character. But I do get that people do abuse that and make the characters look ridiculous. I just think there should be more options, you know? I think I'm on the opposite end in terms of characters, because I like my characters more sassy. So you could give me like a Lara Croft, but have the attitude of like a Harley Quinn, and I'd be so happy. I'd be so freaking happy because I love Harley Quinn. But yeah, I think for me, just being able to like personalize my character, I would be very happy. Sad story, or not sad story, but with a actual story to go with them. But that would be my ideal character, just sassy and strong. I love Harley Quinn. But she doesn't save the day, but Harley Quinn, she's heaven.
She is iconic DC, no doubt. And your Harley Quinn cosplays have been on fire, by the way.
Oh, love
so
her.
Good. And we come round to Kit. What would your ideal female protagonist be, and what would it represent?
Okay, my ideal female. Yeah, this is coming from a game developer point of view more than me, and what I would like to see as a gamer too. Cyberpunk have done it, right? In regards to, I think, and so has Larian Studios with Baldur's Gate. Oh my god, put my words in my mouth, please. Take my teeth out and put them back in. I think we need more games to just have a self-insert character. We need more character creation options. You get choose your gender, right? Choose your gender, choose exactly how you look, choose your body, choose your breast size if you even want them, right? Choose the way your body looks, your skin tone. Match the face to how yours looks, right? Imperfections, scars, freckles, right? Normalizing this kind of thing, right? How much makeup? Do they want makeup at all? All of this, what we should be doing is, a lot of the games that we're playing now are like have already got a story attached to them with a character, but I think we need to be moving forward more with a character creation option to have your self-insert character in, and if they want main characters and your self-insert interacts with them all. I think in regards to representation, we should be allowing people to make themselves and put themselves in this game and allow themselves to feel represented, right? With Baldur's Gate and Cyberpunk, you get to choose your sexuality. You get to choose your sexual partners and stuff like that. Or you get to choose to have absolutely none if that appeals to you too, right? You get to choose if you're non-binary, if you're femme-presenting, if you're mass-presenting. You get to choose whether you have what type of genitals you have down there, and then what type of genitals you have up here as well, right? How many people have made a man who has breasts still? Or...
And you have Larian who made it an option for that skin condition that I can't pronounce. Vitiligo?
Yeah, vitiligo. It's the one where it's got like the white patches on the dark skin and everything. Yeah.
And I thought that was beautiful.
And the other representation of the eye, one different coloured eye to the other. I can't remember what that's called either.
That's
heterochromia or something.
That's it. Yeah. I call it the David Bowie eyes.
I've never played Fable Ghoul, so I wouldn't know. But like things like that is like we need more self-insert characters to allow people to represent themselves more and encourage people to be sharing these representations on social media. Right? As a game developer, if you create a self-insert character in a game where we allow character customization, we want to see your representation. We want to see you in our game. Right? And it maybe it's a lazy standpoint from a developer's point of view. Right? But if we allow you to put your self-insert in, we are not excluding anybody else. Right? Nobody else has to feel excluded. Right?
Literally that.
Yeah. We if we allow a self-insert character, then a white girl who's more curvy can put herself in there, but a young black woman can put herself in there too. Maybe she's got vitiligo, Maybe we need more representation of things like that. We need more people to come in and consult on things that make people feel included in video games. And I think that is where my ideal character and female self-insert thing is. Because if I was going to make a female character, she's going to have pink hair, big tits, and she's going to be about yay high. Because I am only 4'10". I'm only 4'10", so I'm very, very small. But whenever I make female characters, I try and make them as close to me as I can. Because I want to insert myself into the game. Right? Sometimes it's not possible with the pink hair, so I'll just go blonde, which is my natural colour. But it's trying to self-insert yourself into it. And I think that's what we need more, is we need more games with a self-insert character creation in to allow people to make themselves or their ideal character. Because some of us like being wood elves and mages and, demon spawn.
Of course.
Kind of thing. I think allow people to live either their truth or their fantasy in a video game. I think that's where we need to be going.
It makes it more fun. It makes it more personal.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It does. And
I think I want to touch on something that was said in the chat, though, is that Ghoul mentioned that schools have to figure out how to make the gaming industry more attractive to women.
Yes.
We need to be using video games in school.
Yes.
A lot of video games out there are rather educational about history and geography. Like, I remember playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, I used to holiday a lot in Greece, right? Kefalonia, to be exact. And I remember how fucking excited I got at the start that it was Kefalonia. I was like, oh my God, a holiday there. This is where I go on holiday, I think a lot of video games out there are very educational. Geography, history, they teach you about war.
They can even touch on social issues as well.
Yeah, social issues. You got, I think Hellblade was mentioned as well in the chat. You talk about mental health issues.
Oh yeah.
There as well, which needs to be represented more in. I'm not saying mental health, like talking about things like PTSD and stuff like that is a positive thing, but putting it out there to people more is a positive thing, because the silence in mental health, both to women and men, right, is deafening. And we need to remove this stigma, especially in gaming.
Agreed.
Used as an insult a lot, right? Over gaming is you're constantly belittled and made fun of because of your mental health.
Yeah.
You're told. How many times have you been told in a lobby or a game to go kill yourself?
Loads. Too many to count, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happens if your mental health is already in that place?
Oh, you believe it straight away. You're drawn to like, oh yeah, maybe I should. It's when you hear something like that, when you're already in that state, it's not a snowball to start. It's already a snow boulder, and it's fucking crashing, hurtling down.
Like, I know that I'm not the only person who feels this way, but I struggle with mental health, and that's one of the reasons why I will never touch any of the, typically very well-known toxic games like COD, Warfare, all those
because
different.
it does have an impact on you.
It does.
Personally.
It does.
If you
And
take a look
I
at
know
it
it would.
You
And it's
would not expect someone who's got a significant amount of trauma, PTSD, or crippling anxiety, because it's just I throw it back as well as I can. but more representation for that and normalizing that, hey, this is a serious and a very real issue. Let's stop disregarding these people by saying it's fake or using it as an insult.
Yes.
I think you get that a lot.
And
I think
for gaming characters is where I'm, but also in real life.
Yeah.
And that is a really good point, though. It would be wonderful to see that kind of stuff represented in the gaming industry.
Not
It'd be awesome.
oh, they're just crazy. It's a, oh, they have PTSD.
Yeah, and I see some of it in like specifically the horror genre, just because it kind of lends itself easily to that genre of, you know, the depression, the traumas and all that kind of stuff. But it'd be nice to see that more outside of that too.
Yeah, I tend to think sometimes and I'm not trying to be shitty, but I tend to find a lot of indie horrors have been using mental health as a trigger point to sell their game, and try to use it as a shock jock effect on a lot of their games.
Yeah.
Which is sad. I feel like Silent Hill was one of the first games to use mental health and mental health effects in that game, Silent Hill 2 especially, and the way that Henderson's Mind, was it Henderson? No, it wasn't. Sunderland.
Sunderland.
Oh my God, I should have known that.
Jane Sunderland, yeah.
I should have known that.
I'll edit that bit out.
Sunderland's Mind worked. Yeah. We'll just blank out the word Sunderland as well while we're at it. Yeah, it's a dirty word from me, so... And his PTSD from losing his wife and everything like that, and the over-sexualization of the nurses was represented massively in that. The guilt of like how his wife died and everything. The grief that he goes through is all represented through Silent Hill. You know, one of the first games to do that. There was another one as well that I was going to touch on. There's been a few. Is it Emily is Dead? Or something like that, which has been quite recent. That's touched on a lot of like mental health stuff as well. I'm not entirely sure if that is a good representation of mental health because I've not played it, but now it's got a movie coming out. And is that not the one where she mimics her twin sister because she feeds off the sympathy because she wasn't the favorite child?
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of like indie games use mental health as a shock jock, and we shouldn't be using it as a shock jock method.
No.
Right? We shouldn't be using suicide as... And like there was... I don't like bringing it up because there was a lot of the thing when the Tomb Raider remaster came out. Was it Crystal Dynamics or Eidos had put a message on it to say that a lot of the representations of the tribes and the people and the natives and stuff was really offensive. And they were really sorry, but these games were from a different time when this stuff was okay, and they hope that the re-release of these games helps with the further education of how these people live and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, this is woke, I don't want my game with a warning. But I would like more warnings like that in games about mental health or that tackle mental health.
Yeah. Almost like a pre-trigger warning in case something in the game crops up and it makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. You know, we need to be doing that more. But I think further education on mental health in regards to these games, if there's suicide in a game, we need to talk more about it. There needs to be an open dialogue about mental health inside video games. Right?
Yeah, and I see so many games where
people think people think it stops it up here, right? People think it stops at PTSD, depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. I am recovering from an eating disorder. I have body dysmorphia, and you get it a lot with men on the internet as they attack me for how I dress, how I present, and how my body looks. You fat bitch, lose weight. Well, I went and did that, and I got very, very poorly from it. You know, and I have days where I don't see myself how others see me. I don't feel very pretty or very attractive. And I struggle with that. So comments online from men really affect that at times. I try not to let it. I tend to just block and remove.
Yeah.
But I see is that men go for such a low blow when it comes to comments. It's either about your appearance or your body. It's never about your gameplay or your accolades or anything. It is your body or your appearance because I know exactly what to go for. It's a big thing. Is we also need to be talking about how it doesn't just stop up here. It goes further
Yeah.
than that. If we're going to tackle mental health, we need to be tackling things like body dysmorphia, eating disorders, things like post-traumatic stress disorder, things like autism and ADHD, and the difficulties that women face in getting diagnosed with stuff like that, and how mental health is different for everybody, and comes across for people. So, yeah.
He's got a comment. He needs to go.
He's gone. Welcome to the chat, Hex Jordan. Yes, we're talking about female empowerment. If you don't like it, you can fuck off.
Jesus Christ.
Yay!
Waste.
Bye.
Fuck me. Read the room, dick. Honestly, I expected a couple tonight, so well done. He's reached the quota.
But yeah, I do think mental health needs to be tackled more in gaming. So
I do agree with you. It does need to be tackled in gaming. I think someone mentioned as well the old Modern Warfare 2 airport mission had a warning before it, and I'm pretty sure in the remaster they completely removed that from the game. I'm pretty sure they took that out. I'm pretty sure they did.
Was that the No Russians mission?
Yes.
Yeah,
that got completely removed. I mean, I couldn't understand why it got removed, just a bit of genocide on the side, but I feel with the mental health side of it, it's such a sensitive topic and such... I think as much as I agree with you that yes, it does need a representation, and yes, the more it's talked about and the more it's represented in mainstream, the smaller the stigma around it gets. It's such a sensitive topic to approach that I think I don't think a AAA title would dare touch it, because I think that they think that they would lose too much if they did it wrong. I think it's going to take a small indie studio to pluck up the nerve and do it. I think a AAA title has too much. They'll think they have too much to lose if they get it wrong.
And you've also got the worry of it representing something incorrectly and making someone feel like I'm not normal, I'm crazy, and making people feel just kind of to portray. Oh my god, might be able to portray, but my concern is it being portrayed incorrectly, because we already see that so much in real life anyways. I feel like I would love the representation, but it would that stigma needs to be tackled in real life. And be more normalized in order for it to be not appropriate, but correctly represented through a game.
I agree.
And not just this person's crazy. Oh no, they actually just have PTSD.
Yeah, I think we were saying a AAA developer probably wouldn't touch it, no, but we did get Ninja Theory did touch on it through Xbox Studios with Hellblade, and that did really well. It did so well, we got Hellblade 2 coming up. I do agree with somebody who said in the chat, Andy, who said in the chat that we need a balance between fun and realism. I do agree with that. I think some people want really intense games, realism, they want representation, everything like that, whereas some of us want, Fortnite. I want you to drop me in a city full of zombies and I'll just try and survive. I'm happy with a city full of like an island full of dinosaurs. I'm fine with that as well. But I sometimes do enjoy a really hard-hitting game that leaves me sitting there thinking, "Oh,
yeah,
my god!" Like I haven't had that very often with a video game. I think the last time I had it with a video game was Red Dead Redemption 2 and Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5's ending left me so empty I couldn't play another game for 2 weeks. I couldn't figure it out. I'm so obsessed with it. I've actually got, there's a little thingy down there at the very bottom. I got custom art of Joseph Seed done. I've got his sunglasses and his Bible. Like, that
Such a
game
good
left,
game.
yeah, left such a mark on me. I couldn't play anything for 2 weeks. Right, I was just like, oh my god, like, oh my god. Yeah, Jem, I want it. I want a paleontologist as my character. Right? I just dinosaur obsessed paleontologist. She goes into the jungle. She finds dinosaurs. That's why I love Ark.
Oh god,
Mm.
yeah,
I land
you
naked
love
on a desert island, right? And I've just got dinosaurs everywhere. I love Ark. I can't wait to get back on it. Although I did miss the Valentine's event because I was too busy playing Tomb Raider.
Sag.
But I know. But like I've lost my train of thought. I got so excited about the paleontologist character. That's my representation.
The last
Ross
game
Geller and Dino Crisis.
you
that's
couldn't
me.
play Far Cry 5 for 2 weeks because it was that good. The ending, it fucked
I
you.
couldn't play anything after Far Cry. I remember sitting after the story with Faith, which was the little sister.
Wow.
It was the second one I went off. I cried. I sat and bubbled in a PlayStation party at the end of it. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
See, the last
I
game,
can't fucking play it anymore.
the last game that did that to me was when The Last of Us first came out.
Mhm.
And like I went to the alpha of that game. I helped develop some of the levels, like first hand testing them.
Mhm.
And like the level of emotion I went through in that game, I was like, oh my god, the start of it, like the betrayals in the middle, oh my god, I couldn't get over it. And like even like the second one, I haven't played it all the way. I've played a little bit of it. It's on my list to complete. I'm way behind, and I hate the fact they got view bomb or rating bomb because of the stupidest of decisions ever. But whatever. I feel like Naughty Dog have like quietly pushed Ellie into like the main. Like Joel was like the character in the first one. Like Ellie was a great character in the first one, but it was all about Joel, his journey, and how he softened to Ellie and became like this father figure he didn't want to be to this girl. Nah, Ellie got pushed into the main line, and I think that's probably one of the reasons. You can obviously ignore like the whole LGBT argument of it because it's just ridiculous that people would rate and bomb it because of LGBT. But I think the fact that they've pushed Ellie now into the main stream of it, I think that's a positive step for females because it's a strong survival female character who's literally in a post-apocalyptic world where survival is literally the key to life.
Mhm.
And she is thrown to the front of it, and she's going through all this mental struggle of losing friends, going through the whole thing of finding new family and finding new settlements. And I think that's quietly like a little win for female gamers. Like they've pushed such a strong character into the front light from the first one, and they're like, right, we've had the grizzled male character, that's done. Here's a new arc, by the way. She's female. Go.
Can I just bring up my opinion on The Last of Us 2 in regards to a feminine perspective from it?
Sure.
Spoilers in case anybody hasn't fucking seen it. Joel dies. Gets murdered by Abby. However, Abby killed Joel because Joel killed her dad. Now, I understand that Joel was going to kill Ellie, therefore he killed her dad. But Abby's dad thought he was doing the right thing. Ellie originally sacrificed herself and said she didn't mind dying for the greater good. It was Joel who lied to her, therefore they fell out over that when she discovered that he lied to her, right? To me, Diamond said it in chat, antagonist with air quotes. I don't feel like Abby was an antagonist. You're talking about a world where everything is shades of grey, it's not black and white. If somebody murdered my dad, I'd hunt him down to the ends of the earth and I'd do it myself, right? I love my dad more than anything, right? No, you're not taking him away from us. And I can understand Abby's anger towards it.
Yeah.
Right? I can understand her anger towards it. And all the hate she got for doing that because we saw the story as Joel from our perspective as a hero, but he was the antagonist in Abby's story. There is no right or wrong here. People were trying to survive in this post-apocalyptic world. There's no policing or anything like that. Joel is a piece of shit, right?
Yes.
But a lot of us loved him, and now love him even more because of Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
So he's gonna get let off for a lot of things because he's
Pedro Pascal, yeah.
Yeah, he's Pedro Pascal, so he's gonna get let off for everything now. Right? And also the horrible comments that were made about Abby as a muscular woman. There is nothing wrong. Women can be muscular.
The muscle mommy.
Muscle mommy?
Muscle
How
mommy.
many men fantasize about a muscle mommy as well? And yet Abby got so much hate for her body, right? And yet she was absolutely beautiful, right? Just because she didn't conform to society's ideals of what a woman should look like.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's so true. It is so true.
But had we followed the story from the beginning, from Abby, we'll froze there.
Yeah, there you
I'll
go.
say, when if we had viewed the story from Abby's perspective originally and not Ellie and Joel's, Joel would be the piece of shit and we'd be rooting for Abby.
Exactly.
Right? So it was, and the thing is, it was a very sexist, misogynistic argument that came out of the Naughty Dog thing around it, because people weren't attacking her for her actions mainly. It was, well, she did it because she looks like a man. The sex scene, why would he fuck her when she looks like a man?
Yeah, like,
how does she look like a man?
She does not look like a man, like, Jesus Christ.
She looks like a very well-built woman. Grow up.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, let's be honest.
Larian, who created Karlach, who is a muscular female character.
Yeah.
And
to be fair,
have muscles, my goodness.
You're not allowed them, girls. You're not allowed them, okay?
To be fair, I think it's us women that are lusting after Karlach more than the men out there, because we're like, yes, muscle mommy, carry me.
Both of these situations are talking about going against the stereotypical female, and I think that's why there's such an issue with it.
But I think with that as well, I think because most of the gaming community have been numbed to what a female looks like in a video game. It's very generic. It's a slender, skinny woman with the quote unquote ideal body with the big tits and overly sexualized. And that's been the case for quite a number of decades in the gaming community now. So when a character, as you say, comes out like Abby that doesn't conform with that image, people lose their minds, because it's not something they're used to seeing in front of their screen playing a character. They expect every woman to look exactly the same as every other woman on there, whether it be an NPC or a side or main character. So, and going back to what we've said beforehand, this is where women need to start designing and creating female characters, because they understand that women come in so many, as we all do with humans, but women come in so many different shapes and sizes, and that needs to be better represented by these especially by the bigger name titles, because obviously people will flock to those more than the little indie game. So
I think we do need to be advertising more towards women as well, or equally towards women as we do towards men. Which I think, and I know it's my favourite series, but I think Resident Evil do very well, because Leon Kennedy has been my favourite male protagonist since 1998. Right?
I think the new GTA game coming out will make it'll either make it or break it when it comes to a lead female character.
And I've got a feeling it might attract more women to the series. I haven't played a GTA game since Vice City. And I only played that because I loved the soundtrack. I grew up on 80s music. And I just used to cruise around the streets of Vice City in a nice car, listen to the radio stations. Drive carefully, because that's how you should do it in a GTA game. But I haven't played one since. Right? And I never played... played the one that overlooked GTA London, was it?
Yeah, GTA. It was GTA
Yeah.
and GTA London. Yeah, impossible games to play.
Yeah, I played them, right? But I don't know if anybody remembers it. The Getaway. It was like a London-based GTA, right? And it was a really heavy-hitting series on the PlayStation. Well, it was a heavy-hitting game on the PlayStation 2. It was about like London gangs and stuff like that. But I played that, and that didn't appeal to women. It didn't appeal to female gamers. But I liked a game with a good story. It was about Cockney gangsters, and everything was fucking great.
And this isn't
I
only
loved
going to
it.
represent a female; it's also going to represent a different culture as well because she's not white.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that is also, in my perspective, amazing.
Is she
I'm
Hispanic?
excited for it.
She Hispanic representation? I haven't seen the trailer in a while, so I can't remember. She represent the Hispanic community?
Yeah, she is.
Latina.
I think. Yeah.
Somebody in chat says something very interesting, which is that every game does not matter if it's multiplayer shooter or SP story. A single player story game should have a full custom player making ability, which touches on what you said, Kit, of letting the gamer like self-represent themselves as the character on the other side in the game. Which I would prefer, to be honest, and them releasing fucking $20 skins, to be honest, that you don't see unless you're in a pre-game menu for 2 seconds, but it's just a flex to everyone else in the lobby. But
well, they're making their money though.
Exactly.
Aren't
they make more money off the add-ons than they do from the actual game, don't they?
Holly said something in chat about taking back The Last of Us 2 was the hate that Laura Bailey, who voiced Abby, got.
Yes.
And then you've also got to think about Lily Gao got a lot of hate for her voice acting of Ada.
Yes.
Because Capcom cast an actual Asian woman.
God forbid.
God forbid an actual Asian woman,
Voices
an actual Chinese voice actress in place of an actual Chinese character, right? Because Jolene Anderson, who was great voice actress but was a white woman, originally voiced Ada in the RE2 remake.
Yep.
Fantastic at what she did. She really put like a character on Ada, but then we brought in an actual Chinese actress to play an actual Chinese character, and she was absolutely slated to the point that she deleted her social media because people were sending her death threats and rape threats.
Disgusting.
Right? Laura Bailey had threats to her child's life.
She did.
Because of a voice acting in Abby. But the original voice actor for Wesker was caught grooming young female fans and leaking Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Yes.
Right? Stuff to young fans in promise that they would sleep with him or do sexual favours to him, and he was shut down before he managed to do anything. And yet people are complaining that he was cut and that his voice actor was changed.
Well, I'm
so angry.
There are having to be Twitter accounts. Yeah, there are having to be Twitter accounts made to remind people of what he did. Right? But yet all these little incels on Twitter that continue to hate on female voice actresses because they didn't voice it how they wanted, or they simply just don't like it, or they don't like a character. Nothing.
So anyone who knows me knows that one of my favorite franchises ever is Mass Effect. I love the original trilogy. I love the story. I love how BioWare control their characters and create this huge, vibrant universe full of, like, they cover so many bases in their universe. The most fun I have playing Mass Effect is playing as the female character, because the voice actress, Jennifer Hale, delivers the lines so fucking powerfully. Like, every time, like, it forces me to play the game in a certain way because I want to hear those voice lines. And she delivers them so much better. And I've met the male voice actor, Mark Mee. He's absolutely lovely. But he, in comparison to how Jennifer Hale does her voice lines of it, he is shit. He is absolutely. I would quite happily play that game 1,000 times as the female shepherd, just because
everyone is shit compared to Jennifer Hale. Though.
Oh my god, she is such a queen. Fucking love Jennifer Hale. She's an absolute queen. But like that again is like even like a good voice actress can draw people in to play in a female character. Like, I don't even care that I'm a male playing a female character. It doesn't bother me. She's a badass. And the way that her voice actress delivers those lines, and you feel really, you feel like you're the character, like you're making the decisions. Like, you don't even feel bad for making the good or bad ones. Like, you just immersed in it. And it's like, oh, I feel so fucking powerful. I could just slap this Batarian silly because he's being a dick. You know, it's fantastic. And I wish that it was more characters like that. It doesn't really matter if they're female or whatever, what sexuality or gender. But just if you want to play it, just fucking play it because they're badass.
Mm-hmm. I felt that about. I tend to think this with oh my god, who's the developer for Dragon Age and Mass Effect?
It's BioWare.
BioWare, that's it. BioWare do that female voice actors for your self-insert character really well. Like the Dragon Age Inquisition female voice actor was fantastic, and the male one was shit.
Yes. Yeah, it really was.
I never wanted to make a male character, even though I needed some of the enders. I never wanted to make one because his voice acting was shit. It
So
was
bland, right?
It was boring. But yet the woman put so much gumption into it, and I was like, yeah, I fucking love this.
They full on go for it. It's like they're pinning the guy recording it, the person recording it, up against the wall by their throat and recording it. There's so much emotion and so much vitriol in the way they pronounce their lines. It's just epic. It just makes the whole experience so much better. I think we should wrap this up. I think we've been going for 3 hours, gang. We've talked all for 3 hours. Applause.
And we could easily go for 3 more.
We could. We absolutely could.
Yeah.
My question to you guys is, and to chat as well, is would you like to see a follow-up episode, and would you guys like to participate in said follow-up episodes?
Please, 100% yes.
I don't know when
and hopefully
it'll be.
next time I can make my camera look better.
We'll sit beforehand and we'll fix it.
I don't know.
Figure it out somehow.
I don't know when this will be, because as you guys know, when you fill the form in, I do have a number of topics I would like to cover. One of them being, because I'm going through an autistic journey myself, I'd like to navigate that as well with some others. I know that's a boring journey, Kit. I'm sorry, but.
Oh, sorry, no, I've been up since 8 o'clock this morning.
No, it's absolutely fine, my lovely. But yeah, I will keep you guys posted as to when the next one's going to be, as well as everyone in the chat. They are giving every one of you shout outs. If someone wants to plug Kit's YouTube channel instead of the Twitch channel, if that's okay with you?
I'm coming back to Twitch.
Plug both.
Plug both.
Plug
please.
both.
I want to make sure that I'm following
Kit, if you want to put your link in the chat, please put your link in the chat.
Yeah, I'm coming back because I need live recordings of Spyro. So
Ooh.
I know. I want to be the first person. I want to be the first person on Hitlist to have a Spyro Hitlist record. So I'm gunning for that.
You can do it.
It's been a year since I started, so I'm on 3-hit PB. Let's do this.
Oof.
But I also want to get some more Resident Evil Hitlist runs out there as well.
I don't know how you do.
Well, thank you, everybody who's followed and subbed. I love you very much.
I went to sub to your YouTube and then I realized that I already am.
But on a serious note,
I was trying to subscribe again.
It's the fake bikini trying to subscribe that time.
Yes.
But seriously, though, guys, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for agreeing to take part in this. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. And I know you guys have definitely educated me a lot more, like, in depth about what you guys go through in the content creation day by day. And I hope the people in chat can take something away from this, even if it's just a little bit. They've taken something away from it. So thank you so much, guys. It has been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait for the next one already.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I'll wait for the next one, and I shall speak to you all very, very soon.
Love you.
Yes, we love
Thank
you.
guys.
Love you. Bye.
Oh, what a stream. Let's get some music going on here.